All right. Welcome one and all to the latest Xbox. Let me start over. Welcome one and all to the latest Xbox 2 podcast. I'm your host, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million. And with me, as you can see, it is not Jez Corden. He had some family things pop up, but I wouldn't say the last minute, but things were happening and he wasn't able to do the show today. I didn't know if we could do the show at all, really, on Monday, so we didn't want to skip this week because a lot of things did happen, not only in the industry with the Game Awards and all these new reveals, but Xbox was actually out there talking about some stuff too. So figured we had to do the show, and I got my my good buddy, the one and only Colt Eastwood, is here to join us to talk about all the week's events. What's up, Colt? How you doing?
Good. It is a really good week.
It is.
There's a lot of news to talk about, and the Game Awards dominated everything right now. But yeah, we have a lot to cover. Xbox has been spilling quite a bit of news all week long, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, a lot of new games revealed. The Game Awards, Jeff Keighley puts on every single year, and it's always, what's the right word I'm looking for? Not problematic, but it's always, people always have an opinion on it. Either way, either you like it or you don't. And this year, there's definitely some Expedition 33 dominating the way it did has definitely hit people that don't like that game and are like, all right, well, we need to put protections in place for games not to sweep anymore. I've seen that reaction going on around, being like, it's not fair that it won everything. And then, you know, there's the whole thing about the game they ended on last, where they revealed like a free-to-play multiplayer shooter. So there's definitely wide-ranging opinions about this year's show, which is always kind of reflected in Jeff Keighley's poll on Twitter, because he always puts out a poll on Twitter after each event, not only his own event, but everything else. So you can sort of see what the general consensus is. And last time I looked at, you know what, I'll bring it up right now, Coach. I'm going to bring it up right now. Let me go to...
Yeah, I was going to do the calculations,
let me go to
Twitter, there.
And we'll take a look at what Mr. Jeff Keighley... let's look at his poll. Here's a picture of him 3 hours ago with Miss Piggy. What is up with the whole Miss Piggy fascination? Do you know? Do you understand?
I was asking you that right before we went live. I think not the fault of Jeff, but the guy playing, the person playing Mrs. Piggy was kind of making some semi-inappropriate comments. So basically, just people are like making jokes that Jeff Keighley, is in love with Miss Piggy, but Miss Piggy was like making these suggestive jokes and making Jeff uncomfortable on camera, because I'm sure a lot of that wasn't scripted. You know, that the person playing Miss Piggy was improvising.
Well, let me ask you this though. Why is Miss Piggy even there? Like, what is the value of bringing in the Muppets to a show like this? Like, does it bring casual viewers in? Is it just used as bits so like they can repost them on social media? Like, what value does Miss Piggy bring to the show that they constantly have her in every single year? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like 4 years ago, he had Gonzo on, and
Gonzo
or Animal. I think it was Animal first.
Well, he had Animal on this year too. They were doing the song, right?
Yeah, there was some of this. I missed a little bit of the stuff where I wasn't watching every second, but he brought the Muppets on a few years ago, and everyone like just smiled and thought, "Oh, this is kind of funny and goofy," and it takes up a few minutes of the show. And I think he brought him back the next year, and everyone's like, "Oh, good, you brought the Muppets back." So it's going to be like his thing. and
Yeah,
so
I
he probably
suppose.
struck a deal with the. I don't mind it. Some of the stuff has been pretty funny.
Dude, he had Miss
What I
Piggy
think he
on
needs
there
to do-
3 different times. In a show where like you're also giving away awards in bunches, where it's like, and the award for best audio design is blah blah blah. Moving on, and the award for best fighting game is this. So it's like,
And here's a 9-minute segment of the Muppets from.
yeah, it's just he has Miss
Fame
Piggy
from
and the
the
Muppets on
1970s.
in 3 different segments, but we're speed running awards and just handing them out like get out of here, like this isn't important. What's really important is Miss Piggy. Anyways. I don't know. I was kind of curious. It's not like
we will talk to. We do need to talk today as we get into the podcast about time management. The show's 4 hours. I think I couldn't
it's
imagine
3
being
and a
there in
half.
person.
It's 3.5. So they got a 30-minute pre-show and then 3 hour for the main show.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a long time without an intermission for people that are at an in-person event, but you could definitely trim some things and
Sure.
make that show more.
Could you trim an hour though? Because you're probably not going to do
I
a
could.
2.5 hour show, so it's like it's 2 hours.
I don't need an 8-minute Game Pass commercial in the Game Awards. If you're asking me on
sure,
that
but
one.
do we need also
I thought it was kind
how
of a
many
decent
commercials
commercial,
were there
though.
for gotcha games though?
Yeah, there was.
I mean, Jeff's got to pay the bill somehow, and I'm sure those.
I mean, I don't want to start off your show complaining
Gotcha
because
games.
for the most part, the show had some really good moments. But
what did you rate it? Did you vote in the poll? Because I got the poll up here. So the poll is 15.6% A, 25% B, which is I think what I voted. I thought it was a good show, so I think I voted a B, mainly because Expedition 33 won, and it won all the awards. And as you know, and as everybody listening knows, that's my favorite game of the year. So I was incredibly happy.
Does that make the show way enjoyable for you to
Well,
watch
I don't know
your
if
favorite game?
I mean, a little bit. There's a little bit of because my buddy my buddy Gopher was rooting for Donkey Kong, so we had this whole thing for months now because he kept on saying Expedition 33 is not going to win, and I'm like, you're wrong. So every time it did pick up an award, I'm like, that's another one for its trophy case, Gopher. What you gonna do? Donkey Kong's only gonna win best family game, and he's like, no, it'll win best game, and then it kind of took it all home. I mean, to be fair though, Colt, the only reason I tune into these things is to see the new game trailers. So
Of course, absolutely, yeah, same.
I mean, I think I'm not like an outlier on that. I think the vast majority of people are tuning in for the trailers because
That's why Jeff charges $1 million for trailers.
$1 million.
Because
Whew.
the award part of the ceremony is a passing moment, except for a couple of awards that are pretty prominent. And he does treat a lot of the awards like passing moments.
So I think
Marty Stratton.
these polls aren't really reflective of the show itself. It's more reflective on what new things did we see from gaming. So 15.6 A, 25% B, 21.6% C, and 37.8% D or below. So far and away, D was...
When you glance at it, because Rand's saying 15, 25, 21, 38%, the majority votes are C and D. And then, so just calculating this by looking at it, it looks like it's a flat C, maybe a C minus overall.
I mean, it's basically 60-40. It's like 60% like C and below, and it's like 40% A and a B, but B more heavily weighted than D. So you're probably looking at like C minus if you were to
if 356
votes. So 356,000 votes.
Yeah, and there's 7 hours left. I don't know how other schools do it across the world, but if you grew up in the US, like you're looking at a C, the grades go on a C plus, C minus, or a flat C, or whatever. But when I look at it, it's like, is it a C plus or a flat C maybe? Or is it closer to a C minus? I'd have to crunch the numbers, and there's a lot of variables in there. But I think when people look at voting for the Game Awards, they're like, how did I feel overall watching the show? Like how enjoyable was it for me, or how excited was I, or how let down was I? And I think that's the button they hit. And so I voted a C on it because the show was very long, and there was a couple games that were my highlight that we'll get into later. And that ending was like, oh, that last hour was kind of rough. But
yeah, the
I don't
last
wanna race
hour
into
wasn't
it
as
yet.
good as like the beginning of it, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that absolutely for sure. But let me do some housekeeping really quickly, and then we'll get into the show proper. The show's sponsored, of course, by Surfshark. No ad read today, but letting people know that we still have the offer. There's 86% off 2-year deal with an extra 3 months. Links in the description. You can check that out. Supports me and Jez and the channel and everything, and protects your internet browsing and your identity and all the stuff that's going on with all that. So if you need a VPN for use for anything, make sure to think about Surfshark and click on the link and check it out. With that said, we also have the amazing Patreons that support me and Jez over on patreon.com/XB2. Links in the description for that as well. We have the question and answer thread, which is up, which I will be getting to towards the end of the show. So if you got something you want to ask, make sure to head over there. Me and Jez also, I was telling Colt about this earlier, but we've got a couple guests lined up for Xbox 2+1 for the next couple weeks. Should be pretty good, or not the next couple months. Should be pretty good. Guests, some cool things working on behind the scenes, but we'll announce them when we can. And we got the Xbox 2 shout-out tiers for the MVPs. We have Adam Bartolo, Army Dude 52C, Ace T and Madison, Battered Haddock, Briggs Country, Bright Tundra 1, Silas, Discarded Caboose, Fantasticals, Foreign Object, Glenn, Governor Grimm, I Mike Zero, Inner Machine, James Moore, James Wiseau, Justin Duel, K-Trox, Laser Wolf, Pat Rock, RS Donk, Scarcely Relevant, Sean Kramer, Shay Elephant, Shrapnel, Tricks Are for Trey, Wagerman, and Wolfgang KPZ. Thank you guys so much for your continued support of what me and Jez do here on the Xbox 2. So, or the XB2 as we call it now. Or whatever, however we call it. Xbox 2, XB2, that's just a shortened little version of it. But, Colt, what do you want to talk about first? Anything in particular you want to talk about right away?
Well, I don't know how your audience wants to approach it, but I mean, there are kind of a little bits of Xbox news that
sure.
that we could like chew into before we go into the Game Awards, or people want to hear the Game Awards stuff since it just happened.
Let's hit one of the Xbox things first before we dive into the other stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think you made a video about this. I know other people did, but Jason Ronald was teasing stuff for the 25th anniversary, which we all know is next year. And they sort of talked about the games releasing next year, the Forza Horizons, the Halos, the Gears, the Fables and stuff, which they mentioned at the showcase of last year. But Jason Ronald was on the BBC News channel, and he was specifically asked about OG Xbox games coming to Game Pass in the future. And this is kind of what he said. The interviewer says, "Are you going to bring more original Xbox games to Game Pass in the future?" And Jason says, "I can't announce anything today, but what I will say is in 2026 is the 25th anniversary of Xbox, and we want to celebrate the great legacy and history that we have as Xbox, as well as defining the future of where the Xbox ecosystem is going. So I can't confirm or deny what you're asking, but stay tuned. We have a lot of exciting things to share next year." So, when you hear that, Colt, what is your spidey senses? They start tingling. What do you think about? Is he, because there have been rumors, perchance, maybe, of. And I think me and you have talked about this, and I know me and Jez have talked about this on the show, of potentially Xbox building an emulator, so your Xbox Ally, or even if you're just on PC, because the one big knock on the Xbox Ally is the fact that it's really not an Xbox, not in the way that you really would think of it. Like, it only can play the Xbox Play Anywhere games, so the library is limited in that manner. But there's
Yeah.
rumors, and if you kind of look into what Jason Ronald's kind of talking about here, is it possible they built an emulator that can essentially play the vast majority of your library, including OG Xbox games and 360 games? Is he just kind of being like, hey, we got a lot of surprises for next year, and who knows what they could be? Like, what do you think Jason is kind of hinting at here? And what do you want it to be, I guess, is the better question.
Well, my first response is, if Jason's team wasn't really working on back compat right now, the guy asks, you have any OG Xbox games coming? I think it would be okay for Jason to say, we're not really focused on that right now, but Jason said about 2 or 3 years ago that we're not done with back compat, which is kind of on ice. Something like that, remember? And so when he kind of like said, I can't confirm or deny or whatever, I think, I guess they do. But you and I talked about this offline about how you and I are not excited about original Xbox games. And for the most part, I think just about every 360 game, if I wanted to play them, I could somehow. But yeah, I'm not really excited about back compat because it's so far removed from that 2015 reveal, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been 10 years.
It's been a long time.
So I kind of got my fill.
But it was a great reveal back in 2015, though. I remember people going nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it was a time when we were 2 years off the 360, and we had 80 to 300 games that were locked off because we got into the next generation. So that was a big deal then, and it's carried for a little while. But when he says that they've got something in the works and there's a rumor that there's an emulator, it makes me wonder. It's like, how can Xbox speak on behalf of Ubisoft's Avatar game or any other game that would be back compat emulated on a non-Xbox console device that it was licensed to play on? How can Xbox say, it's all good, the license is good, we approve it? I don't know how that works. So I think the concept of emulated games coming to your ROG Ally and your regular PC and the next generation Xbox, that they can do, but ROG Ally and a regular PC, I would think it'd be a very small drip feed. 3 games here, or 1 game a month comes in as they reach out to publishers and defunct studios and say, hey, is it cool if this game is playable via emulation? I guess that's what I think is where it's at. Well, it's kind of hard to get excited about emulation of back compat games when Xbox is moving forward with almost 50 new games over the next generation. So
remember for the 20th anniversary, I don't know if you remember that thing, that was the end of the back compat program. They actually had some like the final batch of backwards compatibility games. And
right
when ABK was acquired, a lot of people talked about the idea of them doing back compat for a lot of the Activision games that suddenly Xbox was now in control of. Your Transformers games or your Spider-Man 360 games or any Singularity and stuff. There was a lot of talk about some like OG Xbox games and 360 games, and that never came to fruition whatsoever. Right? I mean, people still, I don't know, it still gets brought up online whenever there's like a Steam change listing to the Transformers game, that people think like a Game Pass drop is imminent or some backwards compatibility thing is about to happen, because it gets spread all over the place. And there was those comments from the Hasbro people being like, of course we want the games to be there or whatever. So, with the 25th anniversary coming next year, there is like a thought in the back of my head of like, what if we get a final drop of back compat stuff, and it's not so much an emulator, which maybe they can't do.
Like a one last thing.
Yeah, like
we did all these, and here's what we got.
Here's like the final batch. Like here's some ABK games, or here's some other things that we were able to work on. I'm not saying like, it's an emulator that works on the Xbox Ally, and here's other games because maybe that's not realistic. Maybe it's just they're waiting for the next like things with the chips from AMD that would be able to play those games natively. Maybe it's just something smaller to celebrate. But and for the final thing here to celebrate Xbox, we have these 360 games that now work, or these OG Xbox games, and it's just that really. I think I think there's a good chance that potentially could happen. Maybe I'm wrong, because I do think the backwards compatibility team, they went on to do other stuff, and then a lot of the team started working on forwards compatibility stuff to make sure that the games work forward, especially kind of transitioning into Xbox kind of being more like PC-like, to make sure that your library moved forward with you, so it wasn't like left behind. So maybe it just wasn't, there wasn't enough. Like we got, because I mean they got like 500 360 games back and pad, and how many OG Xbox games. And a lot of those are tied up in
from both consoles.
Yeah, a lot of those are tied up in legalese, who owns the rights to it, and all those sort of things.
We had the then current lead of the Back and Pat program on the podcast on RDX, and he said the funny thing that people don't realize is a lot of these licensing agreements that happened in the 2000s were written on a napkin, or written on like really, really stringy legalese that, they didn't think would really matter, because it was always like you made your game and it lasted that generation and it just kind of fizzled out, and people bought it and that was the end. But now people archive a massive digital library. So they're fantastic games. There are a good handful of games I would love to own and play on a modern console. And most of them are from studios or licensees that are long gone and can never be resurfaced. So I can get on board with them doing like, here's our last batch and here's the definitive possible back and pat library, and then bringing those to PC would be huge, as long as I think, don't those games come into back and pat as long as they're still available on the store, because then they kind of get an increase in sales across Xbox.com and stuff.
So when you think of the 25th anniversary, which is a big milestone, how do you think they'll celebrate in the sense of like events or anything? Do you think they'll have an extra event next year? Like, we know the Dev Direct is happening in January, for instance, right? We'll talk about that a little bit later.
We'll get into that.
We know there's obviously going to be a June showcase, which there always is. Do you think they have even another event? They have partner previews sometimes at the beginning of the year. They had one in October.
I think they'll have a dedicated
event. Yeah, like they did for the 20th, where you get to like November, the end of November, and you just have this thing. Do you think they'll pull that off?
Yeah, I think they'll do like a kind of like what we saw with an XO event. They'll have a dedicated digital event celebrating the 25th anniversary of Xbox. And but I mean, that would be in November, and you and I are going to be talking about Gears E-Day in a little bit during the show. So some of that timing is a little weird, I think Xbox is going to have to say, hey, we need to celebrate the 25th anniversary in the coolest way possible, and we're going to have to do it before the 25th anniversary, because we have timing on big games. So anyway, I think that's what they would do.
I guess timing does.
You want to showcase Halo campaign Evolved. That name's so funny. And Gears E-Day, but you and I are wondering when Gears E-Day comes out, so it's like, why not just have that event before those games release?
I guess you could say you could
have,
have,
because the 25th anniversary is what, November, like November 5th or something,
it's like 15th.
I don't know.
It's November 15th.
Yeah, so you have to do something
around that
in
time.
October.
Maybe you just celebrate it during the showcase. You don't really need to have another one, but no, it's just something I was thinking of. I mean, if you were gonna put one of those on, so. Let's talk about the Game Awards, since that was the big thing that happened, and we'll get everything after that. But I look forward to the Game Awards every year. I like Jeff Keighley. I like the fact that he puts this on every single year. I like getting a glimpse of the games that are coming in the future. It's always fun. So I appreciate what he does, and some years are better than others for sure. I do think he kind of gets, I don't know. I do think he kind of gets a bad rap sometimes, because he does sort of seem like me. Like, I'm going to replace E3 and stuff. He does kind of, I can see why a lot of people think he's like egotistical, or thinks he's maybe bigger than the gaming industry or whatever. But I appreciate what he does. I enjoy sitting down and watching the show every single year. So I mean, the one thing I don't like is how, like, when people talk about Game of the Year, they only really think of the Keeleys. And kudos to Jeff for basically somehow working his magic to basically have it so his show is considered the de facto show. Like when you speak of Game of the Year, it's whatever Jeff Keighley's show says it is. Like every website, like from IGN to GameSpot to Windows Central, all of them have their own award shows, and all of them give out their own awards, right? And you still have like the Golden Joysticks and the BAFTAs and all these other, GDC does their own. But when people talk about Game of the Year and Game Awards, it's like the forefront is, oh, that's Jeff Keighley's show. So he's somehow been able to like co-opt that mind share to like present his show, and people think of it as this is the one true thing. That, Expedition 33 won Game of the Year. So for a lot of people, that's going to be like, it is the Game of the Year. And even though IGN might have their own choice, or the Golden Joysticks might say something else, or the devs at GDC might have a different pick, what have you. But when people talk about Game of the Year and the awards, it's specifically Jeff Keighley and his show, which is the one aspect of it where I don't particularly like that much. But I guess people want comparisons to the Oscars and like the Best Picture stuff, and that is the Oscars. And sure, there are the Golden Globes, and there are the Critics' Choice Awards, and there are the SAGs and stuff. But realistically, when people talk about Best Picture and the Oscars, it's that show in itself. So I guess it's not too weird. But so as the awards themselves, does anything surprise you at all? Like any choices for any of the actual winners? Did anything stand out to you at all?
No. I mean,
really?
I think I could have predicted everything that was going to win along with everybody else.
So wait, you predicted that Xbox was going to win 2 awards and PlayStation was going to win 0?
No, I guess I didn't predict that.
Because you put out that tweet. I saw your tweet about that.
What, that I predicted? Or I put out a tweet saying that...
You put out a tweet saying that Xbox One for games for Impact for South of Midnight, which then they announced earlier in the day was coming to PlayStation and Switch 2 in early 2026. And then
my tweet was PlayStation won 0 awards and Xbox didn't show up as usual.
Hey, PlayStation won Last of Us Part 2 adaptation. It won an award for a TV show.
Yeah, and I don't know. Games for Impact from South of Midnight was interesting. I thought if South of Midnight was going to win anything, it'd be art direction, because you and I didn't love that game, but its art direction was pretty cool.
I also feel it got kind of a snub for no music nomination either, like scored music. I felt that was another strong point of that game, but
yeah,
a lot of
some music
competition.
I really liked.
A lot of competition.
Midnight. Yeah.
And then accessibility. Yeah. Like, you don't think accessibility when you think of Doom, but it did have a lot of things you could change up in the game. Yeah. Make it harder, make it easier, change the
I wish
speed
I would have made
of the
it
game
harder when I played the campaign.
Too easy.
I wish I would have sped it up.
Yeah.
Well, I sped it up after I beat the game, and I'm like, oh, this actually makes it much better.
Much more enjoyable. I think I sped it up too.
Yeah, I should have done that during my playthrough.
But you can basically
it's a crazy year.
Everything.
2025 was insane.
Yeah.
We had some of the biggest games and some of the most popular games, and Arc Raiders only won one thing, I think.
Yeah, and that really pissed off Gaz. That because Gaz has been going on this thing about Arc Raiders being Game of the Year and it being snubbed for the Game of the Year thing, but it got its best multiplayer nomination and it won. I would have hated to see what would happen if it didn't win. Because, I mean, that would be my choice. You know how much I love Arc Raiders. I'm still playing. I haven't played anything else since it's come out. Like, literally, the only thing I have played since Arc Raiders came out is Arc Raiders. I played nothing else. I'm like almost 150 hours in it.
So annoying.
No, we're not.
I can't
what are you talking about?
I can't even get anything else done
what is
with you guys because...
you know what Code Eastwood's playing again? Fallout 76 for the 5th time.
Heck yeah,
or,
man.
or some
Yeah.
Bethesda game, because Colt doesn't have anything to play. So he'll yell at us for playing Arc Raiders, but then he's over there playing Fallout 76 with the ghoul.
I got 80 hours into Arc Raiders, and it's a really good game. I think Arc Raiders also should have won Best Audio Design. I don't know how that went to Battlefield 6. I think the panel's just like, yeah, Battlefield 6 is really popular. I don't even know why, but Arc Raiders sound design is as impressive as its visuals and its allure to people. The directive sound, the everything in Arc Raiders is just super crisp and just on point. And the sound makes that immersion so incredible. I don't know how that went to Battlefield 6, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The funny thing is, I've only played Battlefield 6 for like 6 hours, and it was just really the Red Sec mode, the Battle Royale mode. I haven't played the campaign. I haven't even touched the actual multiplayer. I haven't even, me, I play the Call of Duty every year, and I play the campaign. I haven't even played this year's Call of Duty. Anything released after Arc Raiders, I haven't even touched yet. And there are some games I still want to play. Like, I recently bought Silent Hill 2, which came to Xbox. Even though I played it last year on PS5, I was thinking about doing a run through, because Silent Hill 2 is one of my favorite games ever. Metal Gear Solid Delta, I bought that. It was on sale. They just made that Xbox Play Anywhere, which I think made your choice easier, because you were kind of on the fence of being like, do I want to play this game? And then I think they made it Xbox Play Anywhere, so I think you're probably... Because Colt's complaining to me, I got nothing to play to March of next year. And I'm like, really? You got nothing to play till March of next year? He's like, what am I going to play?
Comes out at the end of January.
What? Final Fantasy VII Remake? You're going to play that? Somehow I don't see you playing that.
There's something that comes out at the end of January. I forgot what it was.
And you're not playing. You're not playing Resident Evil 9 Requiem, because you don't like Resident Evil.
I'm such a loser.
So Colt was like, I got nothing to play till March.
My favorite Resident Evil is 3, and everyone doesn't like that one.
I'm like, well, man, you better you do another playthrough of Skyrim, or a new playthrough of Oblivion, something.
Oh, stop with the Bethesda.
How about another run through of Fallout 4 this time, huh? That's what Colt always heard. What about Starfield?
I'm done with Starfield.
You're done?
I'm done. They're not going to have a big update for that for like another year, so... Yeah.
So you look at some of these awards. Like, I think people always talk about, why isn't this more player centric for like people like me and you, right? Because I think like you can vote on anything, but it only counts to 10% of like the final total right?
Yeah.
But then, so this is why I've seen people say this. This is why it's not a fan voted thing. Because the Player's Voice Award, which was 100% player fan voted on, the nominees were Dispatch, Claire Obscure, X33, Genshin Impact, Hollow Knight, and Wuthering Waves. And Wuthering Waves won. Which has people...
I think it's a really popular mobile and console game, but I don't know. It's another Genshin Impact style. I played it for a little bit. I'm like, nope.
That's one of those things where I've seen people suggest that, be like, well, that the one that's going to win is the one that pays for the most for bots to vote or whatever, right? So maybe that will be what happened. Another thing I thought was funny, when they did the most anticipated game, and everyone in the world knows it's going to be Grand Theft Auto 6. It's funny because when it won, people just were laughing. Like, it was like, yeah, of course.
Right, like what else would it be?
What else would it be? Kind of funny. Best adaptation, Last of Us Season 2, which a lot of people didn't like for the changes it made. I haven't watched it, and I don't plan on watching it.
That is so strange when you talk about that Season 2 Last of Us. People absolutely loved the first season, but the second season seemed to be so universally hated. And it won Best Adaptation over the Minecraft movie, which is like one of the most popular movies.
Yeah, but the thing is, you always got to keep in mind about who's voting on these awards. And The Last of Us Season 2 is much more geared towards those people than the Minecraft movie. Minecraft movie's made for kids and teens and tweens. The people voting on this stuff aren't going to vote, even though the Minecraft movie almost made $1 billion and is a worldwide recognized property that's huge. I mean, nobody's suggesting that Last of Us is bigger than Minecraft, but like when you get at this award show, you know that Minecraft doesn't stand a chance because the people that enjoy Minecraft aren't the people in that audience. So,
yeah,
I guess you could say like, why wasn't Sonic nominated or whatever? But it's no surprise that Last of Us Season 2 won. Best family game, Donkey Kong. I mean, there you go, Nintendo winning that. Best fighting game, Fatal Fury. Basically, best action game. Did you see Jeff Keighley when Hollow Knight Silksong won? He says, "See, you guys won something because they said they weren't going to come to the show because they were going to lose to."
Oh, they did?
Yeah, remember?
I didn't know what the story behind that was.
Yeah, they said they weren't.
That.
They said they weren't going to come because the game wasn't going to win, and that Expedition 33 was going to win everything. And then so when it won Best Action Game, that's why Jeff said, "See, you guys won something."
Oh, that's kind of not cool.
Well, speaking of not cool, I know I saw the GIF, which I don't understand this, when they were doing best performance and the girl from Ghost of Yotai was eating her popcorn, and people were like, "Oh my God, she expected to win and she didn't win," and I'm like, I don't think she expected to win. She was eating her popcorn.
I don't think she did either.
But the one I will say, did you see the reaction of Kojima losing to?
Yeah.
Bro,
I mean,
he did not look happy whatsoever. You know when Expedition 33 won, did you see he got up out of his seat and left? I didn't see that. I just saw that. There's an image of the Expedition 33 people coming on stage, and they're right behind them's Kojima just leaving.
Oh, I did not. I mean, I saw people sharing his initial reaction. I thought, I mean, what else are you gonna do? He did a smile, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't."
No, that what, dude? He laughed. What do you mean? Like that was a laugh. It was for game direction.
Darth Monkey. Darth Monkey said Troy Baker should have won for performance.
Yeah, you can make that argument.
Performances are amazing in Expedition, but Troy Baker did something that does not often happen in gaming, and he emulated an iconic character so perfectly. I kind of feel like he should have got a nod there.
I would not have been upset if he won, because that game only really works because of Troy Baker.
Yeah.
And he's like literally Indiana Jones. It's such an amazing, and I think it's more just, it came out to like,
we spent like 100 hours playing, or 70 hours playing that game, and he continually fooled us over and over.
It was great.
When you know it's Troy Baker.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's, because they, the 3 nominations for the characters in Expedition 33, but I would have been perfectly happy with Troy Baker winning. And the funny thing is when I know I've had this reaction before, and I know you have too, is when you're listening to like a new game get announced or whatever, and you hear people talk, and you're like, fuck, that's Troy Baker again? God damn it. Where it's like, his voice is so iconic and he's been in so many games that you're just like, and sometimes it and not necessarily in The Last of Us or in Indiana Jones, but sometimes it seems like he's not trying. He's just doing his Troy Baker voice. But then he puts a lot of effort in some. So like with Indiana Jones, I stopped thinking it was Troy Baker. I thought it was Harrison Ford. I was like, holy you know what I mean? Like he immersed himself
even
in
though
the
you're
role
not looking
so
at his face all the time.
Yeah.
And Charlie Cox, the whole thing about his story is amazing. Like he didn't remember what game he worked on, but he poured his guts into that character.
Yeah, he said he did all of his voices in like an afternoon, like a 4-hour session or something. He was just like done with the game.
Oh, really?
That's what he said.
Yeah. Did it in an afternoon.
Essentially.
Yeah, went and got some Taco Bell and bounced. So yeah, I mean, Charlie Cox deserves it, right? Was it Charlie that won it, or was it?
No, it was It was
Jennifer
English for Mael. She won.
Okay, yeah, Jennifer English. Yeah, I mean, people love those characters, so I'm not mad at them winning at all. I just feel like the uniqueness. Well, they're both unique, so yeah. Anyway,
best RPG was Expedition 33. And maybe this is the one category that I thought, well, I didn't play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but from everything I've seen of it, I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is probably a better RPG than Expedition 33. But then again, if Expedition 33 is your game of the year, then how could it also not win? Some of these subcategories are weird because it's like if Kingdom Come Deliverance wins for best RPG, but how could it not then beat Expedition 33 for game of the year, right?
Yeah.
Or if you know what I mean? Because like the Oscars and stuff don't have these breakdowns of like individual stuff. It's just the overall.
Yeah, and I want to have that conversation, and there's no salt in it because I know Kingdom Come Deliverance is super good game. So maybe it does deserve to be RPG, but Expedition as an RPG that also just won everybody over. And I feel like that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 just kind of got left out in the breeze, even though it pulled in millions and millions of people. So you look at the awards and I think what you have to remember, and we'll keep bouncing back this as we talk about it, that the awards aren't for us. The awards are for the people that made the games. And so you have to think, I really hope that the people that made them get their due, that created something amazing and won over fans around the world. Like, did they deserve to get the award or not? Instead, we always think of it as, man, my favorite game deserves to get it because we all loved it, right? I didn't finish Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. When we talk about backlog, this is just about me, so I'll only say this for 10 seconds, but I finish all the games I want to play, and then if there's games that I'm not interested in finishing, they don't stay in my backlog. They just kind of disappear. Anyway, that's why I don't have games that'll carry me out for another 10 years. And you just finish, when you start something, you finish it because you're going to do everything you can in it. And if there's a game I think that you don't like, you might not even jump to it, right? Because you wouldn't keep to it. That's what I get from you anyway.
Well, I mean, there are plenty of
Like
games
Outer
that
Worlds
I
2.
have started that I start playing and then I stop, but that's not a lot. If I do start something and play something, I typically tend to finish it. Just like when I pick up a book and read, I haven't DNF'd any books. So it's like, if I start something, I want to finish it.
On your account, I don't think you really have games that you just gave up on because they weren't good. Like, you were committed when you get in.
There are. Like, I stopped playing Saints Row after 5 hours, the reboot.
There's a lot of games this year that I put a bunch of time in and just didn't. Like, I didn't finish Arc Raiders. There's
well,
like
I mean,
two
is there like any? Do you really ever finish a multiplayer game like Arc Raiders?
No.
I mean, technically, I guess you could say, well, did you max level? Did you do all the quests? Did you beat the Queen? And if those are your requirements for finishing Arc Raiders, I've only done 2 of the 3 because I hit max level.
True.
I finished all the quests, but I haven't beat the Queen yet. So I don't know, like, where finishing a multiplayer game would, essentially be in that.
Your chat's making a really good point when they talk about best RPG. Like, there's these RPG mechanics that make it really unique or make it a really good RPG. And maybe
it's like the discussion
jury should
between
look at that and say, what makes it a great RPG over the other ones, instead of Expedition 33 is an RPG and it's the best game this year, but I'm going to pick that as the best RPG.
Well, yeah, but then again, you don't even know, like, the people voting, that it's kind of like the Oscars in the sense where it all came out. Like, some people voting don't even have to see all the movies that they're voting for and stuff, and that very well could be the case here, where somebody who has a vote might have only played Expedition 33 and didn't play Kingdom Come Deliverance, so Expedition 33 was their favorite, so that's why it was not, and that's why it won. So you don't know what's the breadth of, like, each publication and all that, and, like, did they play everything, blah 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 blah. But it also reminds me of, like, the whole RPG aspect of it, like, what's a real RPG and what isn't, and which one's better. It kind of reminds me of the Mass Effect 2 situation, where, like, they're still classified as like an RPG, but, like, Mass Effect 1's like an RPG action game, where, like, Mass Effect 2 is an action RPG game. You know what I mean? Where it's, like, kind of flipped because the action is more far.
I love Mass Effect 2, but it is the RPG mechanics are so
very
contrived. It's hilarious. Such a great game.
And, what would you say is your favorite Mass Effect game? Is it the one that's more of an RPG or the one that's more of an action game?
Yeah, I mean, it's Mass Effect 2 is my favorite, but
Exactly.
gosh dang, if they would have carried over some of the RPG mechanics from 1, I would have been it'd be perfect. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I mean, I love Mass Effect as well. What else we got here? One best ongoing game was No Man's Sky. I feel like this game has been out for fucking so long now, but best ongoing game. I mean, good for them.
Steep competition with Fortnite for best ongoing
Yeah, but
game.
But the thing is, Fortnite never really wins these things, and I say that, and someone's probably going to correct me in chat, being like, actually, Fortnite won that last year. I don't really remember what won best ongoing game, but it always sort of feels like Fortnite's of the world don't win, and like I said, maybe it's based on who votes on these awards. Like for instance, Minecraft is not in here. How's Minecraft not ever? Minecraft should be perpetually nominated for best ongoing game.
Well, Minecraft doesn't do anything though. You and I had this conversation on the phone the other day.
What about
Well, I think
Roblox, for
what
example.
about
Roblox.
I mean, Roblox is.
I know it's more of like a launcher with all
enforced by the community, but Fortnite is continually supported to top quality with great content every single month. But No Man's Sky has had this continual resurrection that has won over fans, and the love that has been given to Hello Games for taking that game and continually just making it like they had that new update last year or this year. I think it was this year. That update that just bowled everyone over. And so I think the panel looks at that and goes, look at what No Man's Sky did. Like they've overcome the odds and they continually surprise people with this game. And so that gets the vote. And I can think that's the right choice. It's cool. I think it's a good pick.
Okay.
I don't know if you've played No Man's Sky at all.
No.
I don't remember asking you.
No, I have not played No Man's Sky.
I hated it at launch, and then
everybody
around 2018 or 2019, I started playing it when it was, rounded up, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And then there's so much to do, you'll be lost.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when I said Minecraft doesn't do anything, I mean, as far as major content updates, like there's so few and far between. I remember the big announcement, like, oh, we're bringing in bees, and that super duper 4K ray tracing thing was like, we waited years for that. And I don't play Minecraft to really know exactly what they're doing, but I don't know what Mojang does to improve and add to that game. I just don't know.
Speaking of like best ongoing game and No Man's Sky, and you brought up Minecraft and stuff. This is kind of a sidebar really quickly. I wanted to get your thoughts on this, as well as chat's thoughts. So Cyberpunk 2077 kind of put out a trailer this year celebrating its 5th anniversary, right? And I love Cyberpunk. I think it's my game of the generation.
Yeah.
But the discussion online wasn't necessarily about the game itself. It was about male V versus female V. And the erasure of male V from the marketing side of things, because the trailer basically highlighted just female V. And
I think there's a reason why.
Well, I think there was two clear marketing beats for the game. When all pre-release and when the game came out, it was male V everything. And then the game had its kind of the game had all that refund stuff and people hated it. And I could see the marketing teams being like, well, everything was tied to male V, so let's switch it to female V. But when the expansion came out, the focus was switched from male to female. And then they've kind of kept it on the female side of things. Do you have a take about that whole situation? Like, instead of celebrating the game, it seemed like people would be like, why don't they highlight the male character? Because, and I get it from like a certain perspective of, my experience was with Cyberpunk was the FemV, right?
Yep, same.
And I can understand the experience being if you really connected with male V, so your experience is from that angle, and then you see a celebratory trailer for it, and it's from the other side that you didn't experience at all, making maybe you feel like left out a little bit about that your experience wasn't like the right experience, quote unquote.
Mass Effect's done the same thing. They've heavily leaned on FemShep with the red hair, and like that's not my.
Well, they heavily
experience.
leaned on that on male Shep during like the original launch, but yeah, with like
Right.
Legendary Edition, they switched it to FemShep. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think it's just like just because hey?
I think they have the telemetry. They obviously have the telemetry, and it was probably 70% of people played as female Shepard or something.
I don't even know if it's that much. I would be shocked if it was 50-50. I think more people played as male V than female V.
You really?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they've ever published the numbers or whatever, but
I think they did that, Rand, because the telemetry told them that the majority of people picked female V, and so they're like, we'll. It had to be an overwhelming number to change all of the. I mean, you could make that marketing trailer showing both, but it kind of looks weird, doesn't it? Going back and forth between the guy and the girl in the leather, samurai jacket.
God, that game is so good.
I don't know.
I will say if I ever do play Cyberpunk again, which there is a distinct possibility I might, because I do like that game a lot, I would play as male V. Because I feel like I'd get a different experience. But I feel like it's kind of like when I played through Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 the first time, I was male Shepard and I was Renegade. Mm-hmm. Every Renegade choice, male Shepard. So when I played through it a second time, when Legendary Edition came out, I chose Fem Shepard and Paragon. And even though I played through the game, the reason I chose that was because I felt like at least I would be getting something new. Like a different voice actor, different choices with the whole Paragon path instead of the Renegade path. So if I were to ever play Cyberpunk again, I'd pick male V because I would imagine their performances aren't exactly the same. So you might actually get what you would feel is something at least newer and fresh. Where like I played through with female V and I loved it, and I'm very happy that's who I chose. But if I wanted a newer experience, I'd be like, oh, I'll pick the male side to see how this one goes and see how he compares and stacks up to the other one. But I saw that trailer and I was like, man, this is a really good trailer, and Cyberpunk was so good. But then the whole thing was like, where's male V? And I'm like, my first thought was, well, they switched marketing campaigns with the expansion, and it's been female ever since. But then I also thought, well, the male one is kind of also linked to basically how broken the game was at launch. So maybe they want to avoid those comparisons. But either way, I don't know. That happened this.
Yeah.
Onto the big reveals, Colt. Game Awards. Well, the reason why everybody watches, we have
let's talk about that statue since you've got it on screen right now.
Statue, yes. So that was the big thing. That it's kind of like the big hype moment, the big thing that was driving.
God of War Egypt, Rand.
Like, what that statue did not give off like God of War Egypt vibes.
Not at all.
But I will say I did see a Gene Park comment where he said it's kind of, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it was basically, is there a problem considering that all the games look similar, that you see this big statue and you think of multiple franchises because they all look similar? Like you see that statue and you think, oh, it's Elder Scrolls. Actually, no, it's God of War. Actually, no, it's Diablo. Right? Where it's like,
I mean, it just screams the Dark Ages or a Dark Ages aesthetic. So, I mean, there's really like 5 genres in gaming.
I think it was more like the art and everything is kind of, everything's so similar, and that's maybe a problem. Essentially, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I just thought it was funny. Everyone thought it was Bloodborne 2. They thought it was Soros.
Every single year, bro. Every single year, someone thinks Bloodborne 2 is getting announced.
Yeah, we got the Badger game.
We got the Badger game before we got Bloodborne.
Yeah, and then there was the Soros 6-armed god, and they're like, oh, it lines up with the tentacles.
But none of the things in the statue itself look like Saros, like reptiles or like a dude with armor, and none of that stuff. So it's like, yeah, the arms look like they could be, but the rest of the statue doesn't make any sense. You know?
Yeah.
So it ended up being, people figured it out, I think 2 days beforehand, because the trademark came out and leaked. It was for Divinity.
With the actual perfectly lined up proportion of the, the flesh star or whatever that was. And so, yeah, it was a Divinity Original Sin or a Divinity reboot.
So this is basically like, when you think of like the tiers here of announcements, right? There's probably like, I would say 2 really huge announcements, and this is one of them. You could make the argument this is like the biggest one. It was
Larian Studios, one of the highest rated franchises on PC is the Divinity series.
This is their game after Baldur's Gate 3, which Baldur's Gate 3 took all the awards when it came out 2 years ago and sold a ton of copies. So it's
they're definitely not afraid to be gory.
Oh yeah, that trailer is something else. I watched people fornicate and a body basically be set on fire and his skin blistered
and ripped apart.
Yep. I mean, you want to talk about mature.
I'm gonna say this, and I'll leave it at a portion of the statement. But what I saw from the Game Awards was there was no safe content. I think they really just went for it with games. Games are like, we're gonna be violent, we're gonna be gritty, we're gonna be mature, we're gonna be dark, we're gonna be bombastic. Like in the past, there have been some games where it's like, we want to play it safe. The characters have to look a certain way, and Larian Studios like, we don't do that. The pig's going to be eating someone's vomit, and that lady's going to be doing that one thing over there. You can look at it if you want.
I mean, it was a really, really good trailer. Really good trailer.
Yeah.
I've never played.
But what do you think?
I've never played a Divinity game. I think they're CRPGs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. What do you think of the actual gameplay visuals compared to that CG trailer?
Did we see gameplay? I'm not remembering. If we did, I'm not
you could track back on your gameplay if you want, but yeah, it looks it doesn't look as nice as Baldur's Gate 3 from that reveal, but I'm sure it'll be awesome.
I don't know. I'm sure people are gonna love it. What do you think about the idea of not doing a Divinity Original Sin 3 and just calling it Divinity?
I think they're just rebooting because the series is pretty old. It's like 20 years old, right?
I think it's kind of smart. Because you might get people like me who might be interested in it because it's like a brand new game, or people who discovered Larian through Baldur's Gate 3 and are like, I'm a fan of the studio now. But then their next game is Divinity. If there was, Divinity Original Sin 3, those people might be like, oh, it's a third in the franchise. I don't know if I want to play it now. But just calling it Divinity, and they might be like, oh, it's almost akin to the Avowed and Pillars of Eternity, where you have this Pillars of Eternity franchise that Obsidian has been making. There's been 2 games in it, but it's never really necessarily been like a big seller. And then you're making this like first-person RPG, even though it's set in the same world. It's like, no, we're actually going to call it something different. It's Avowed. And because I'll be honest with you, Colt, if it was Pillars of Eternity : Avowed, I wouldn't have played it, because I would have been like, I don't know, I have to play the other games first.
Yeah, I'll be lost.
But calling it just Avowed was like, okay, yeah. So I don't know if that's the reason for them doing it, but it does make me more interested in being like, oh, well, maybe I could start here. Maybe I don't need to know anything about Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. And I can just play this one. You know what I mean? We'll see. I mean,
and
go ahead.
I was wrong. I was thinking of the gameplay that looked like a Baldur's Gate game that was shown earlier in the show. I don't even remember what game it was.
Yeah, because I was thinking,
but it was like
Divinity only showed the CGI trailer. They didn't show any gameplay.
Yeah, what was the game that showed the turn-based combat that looked a lot like Baldur's Gate 3? What game was that? That they showed?
Talking about Total War Warhammer? Talking about that?
Maybe. No, it was early on in the show. Like, we just saw it while we were talking like 10 minutes ago, and I'm kind of like scrolling back trying to find it so I can correct myself, but I don't remember. Yeah, Solasta 2. Thank you
Solasta
guys,
2.
appreciate it.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I thought was like the follow-up gameplay for Divinity. They were very close together in the show, so I made that mistake.
So
but that's kind of that part is difficult. Like Larian Studios, you can be super excited because they're amazing, but you didn't get any idea of what the gameplay looks like. So we live in an era over the past 15 years where like we're not fleeced by a CGI trailer. We don't really accept CGI trailers much anymore, right? We want to see what the game looks like, and for the most part, games will show a little bit of gameplay. They won't leave you without that. But Divinity just had this CGI thing, so
yeah, but I think probably for the fans of the franchise, they don't necessarily need a gameplay trailer. They just want to know that Divinity's coming back, and the tone of what the game might be, which I think this trailer really kind of sets. So it's them. There's like, yeah, we know what Divinity is, so we're good. Like, we're good. We don't need to see necessarily gameplay right away. Plus, that game's probably still years away. They're probably going to launch it in early access like they did with Baldur's Gate first. So, who knows when people actually... But that was definitely... You talk about the announcements of the show, probably up there... Well, depending on who you talk to. Some people definitely have this as their number one. And I guess I'll start with what a lot of other people will say is their number one, or potentially... because it opened the show, right? Because there are trailers here that they had in the pre-show, like the Free Shepherd, where you're a dog. You want to play as a dog, where you're shepherding some sheep? Is that a game that Cold Eastwood wants to play?
Good. No, I'm good.
Or there's this game called Decrepit, which was like a first-person dungeon crawler, audio mech, where it's kind of like a twin-stick shooter kind of thing, set to music. Seemed interesting. Pragmata got a release date for April 24th. I'm kind of interested in playing that, so I'll probably definitely play it when it comes out.
Yeah.
Colt's game of the show, Bradley the Badger. It's funny.
Yeah, that one does look funny.
When I first saw that, there was a part of me that was like, this looks like an AI game. When it was not necessarily like the game... No, not necessarily like the gameplay. It was maybe like the intro before they actually started showing gameplay. I was just like, why is this giving me like AI vibes? And then it went into what it was, and I was like, this is kind of... Originally, I was kind of like, I don't really... But then it started... I was like, oh, actually, this is kind of smart. Like, I actually would probably play this game. But Bradley
has a little
the
bit of Astrobot charm to it with the variety in gameplay, a little bit of Psychonauts. It's like a lot of cool stuff. Just a Bloodborne thing, and
ended with Stupid Never Dies, which was like a brawler. But one of the big things, like I mentioned, it kind of leaked beforehand, although not fully, because it came out that we did hear, I think it was from Steven Totillo, that the KOTOR remakes are still in development. Not only KOTOR 1, but also KOTOR 2 with all the Obsidian content. So people expected the KOTOR remake to be here. In fact, I think, because I remember like people expecting it to be here, and then a leaker came out and said there is a Star Wars game at the show, and it does end with Old Republic. So people were like, oh, it's going to be KOTOR. But the first thing they show, the first world premiere, ends up for a Star Wars game, but it's Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. And it's directed by Casey Hudson, who directed Knights of the Republic when he was at BioWare, and also the Mass Effect trilogy. And this got people super excited. Like, ridiculously excited. I don't know how much of a Star Wars fan you are, but what do you think of this announcement? I almost feel like they should have saved this to the end, but we'll get to the end in a little bit, because I feel like
I think that's the first thing I thought once the show was over was, why not put the Star Wars reveal at the end?
Well, because
I have a feeling one of the bigger moments.
I have a feeling that the people behind the game at the end probably paid a hefty sum to be the game at the end.
Oh gosh,
it is just I
thought that was by Respawn. I thought that was a Respawn game. I didn't realize it was the people that left Respawn, you know. So no Vince Zampella, nothing. But yeah, we'll talk about that too. What I think about the KOTOR thing is that's a franchise I didn't play. It came out while I was going to college. And by the time everyone was recommending it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so ancient. So as a guy who still plays Fallout New Vegas from time to time, like, could I play KOTOR? Pushing Polygons in the chat says I should still play it.
I mean,
and I know it's amazing.
I think you should. Although, you know, with the remakes coming, maybe it'd be better. You don't know anything about KOTOR, right?
I'm like, yeah, I don't really know anything. Like, my friend said the name of the ship, and I didn't know what that was, and these iconic characters. So it would be a huge discovery for me. It's almost like someone saying, I never played Red Dead 2, and they're like, well, they're doing a remake for it in a few years, so why don't you just wait? And then you're like, I can't wait for you to tell me how you experience this story. I know people love it, so I'm excited.
Yeah. But then it came out today, which I guess isn't too much of a surprise. But some people seemed were pretty shocked by this. But Jason Schreier put this out. He said, last night's biggest surprise was Star Wars Fate of the Republic, led by Casey Hudson, who directed Knights of the Republic and Anthem. Exciting news for lots of people. But Lucasfilm says the studio was founded this year, which means that 2030 is an optimistic guess. Maybe it'll be a PlayStation 7 game. So that has really put a damper on it for a lot of people, because even if you take Jason like at his like, okay, it's optimistic, it's 2030, that's 5 years from now, right?
When is the one that was announced like 2 years ago for PlayStation to be timing?
Oh, that was Knights of the Republic, but that went through a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, who knows if it's...
But when do we expect that one?
Well, I mean, they had to restart development or whatever. They basically gave it to a new developer. They stripped the game...
I'm sorry, is Jason Schreier saying the next Old Republic game is due out in 2030?
He's saying that this Fate of the Old Republic game that was just revealed is basically just starting development. The studio was founded this year, and that 2030 is an optimistic guess for when it will come out.
Okay.
But I mean, you're also talking about a massive game, so it's 5-6 years. I mean, I always joke around with like you and Maddie and people that love Fallout and Jez that you won't see Fallout 5 till 2032.
2035 is what I've been saying.
2032 could easily be the release date for the Star Wars game. Now, I am excited for a new Star Wars game to be in development, especially in the Knights of the Republic one, or in that same universe thing. But I ain't gonna lie, when I saw that it was basically, oh, by the way, they founded the studio this year and it may not arrive until the 2030s, my excitement went down a lot of notches. I'm just like, oh, because now I'm thinking to myself, is this game even going to come out? Because who knows what happens in 5 years? Like, they may decide...
That's the reason why I'm asking about the Saber Interactive KOTOR game. Like, everyone's looking forward to KOTOR, and that one like got pushed.
Well, no, like the original developer was Aspire, and they got the game pulled from them, and then supposedly they gave it to Saber
Interactive, which is Tim Willits, who's an amazing guy in the industry. So that's what I'm asking. Like, if we're waiting to 2030 something for this Fate of the Republic, don't we have KOTOR in between then? But how soon or how late? Has anyone said anything?
No, I don't think they've said planned release dates for any of that stuff. So I'm more specifically, you're right, of like, well, they could do KOTOR 1. Wouldn't it be more palpable if like, hey, KOTOR 1 came in 2027 and then KOTOR 2 came in 2028
and then a couple years later.
It's almost like the Tomb Raider thing, but even still, with Jason saying optimistic, meaning there's a good chance if this game runs into problems, you're in 2032 or 2033. What if it's an 8-year game? And then you're in 2033, 8 years from now. It's like, I started this podcast 8 years ago. You know what I mean?
Whenever we talk about these games down the road, Rand's always like, Colt, you're going to be like 67 years old when that game comes out. Will you still be playing games? I'm like, shut up, Rand.
You're like, you still be playing games when this game comes out? You're an old man,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was, I guess maybe even the third I mean, you could classify like big depending on who you want. Like I like that trailer and I like that the Fable Republic is coming back. But
Yeah.
the Tomb Raider announcements.
Can I say that was my highlight of the show?
Really? Okay. Yeah, I mean
It was.
I don't hate that. So we had 2 Tomb Raider announcements. And the way they did it was they showed off the new game, which is the brand new game coming from Crystal Dynamics, releasing in 2027, which is a sequel to Tomb Raider Underworld. So that we're finally getting a sequel to that storyline and those things.
What Catalyst is?
Yes, Catalyst is a sequel to Underworld.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Well, because the remakes started over, like Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, they basically started over and it was their own thing. And then
so we're going back in time.
And then they also within the same announcement also showed off Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, which is a remake of the first game. And they're having like a whole Tomb Raider sort of thing where Tomb Raider in 2026 we're going to be getting the first game remade, and then the next year we'll get the new game. I like that. It's almost it reminds me a little about, like, remember this year was the year of the Ninja, where you had like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black in January, and then you had Ninja Gaiden Ragebound in like June, and then it was like Ninja Gaiden 4 in the fall, and it was great because it was all within like a single year of the Ninja. And I like this idea of being like, hey, we got Tomb Raider remake 2026, and then we got the brand new Tomb Raider the year after. I like that kind of release cadence. I wouldn't mind them, Colt. Maybe this is a hot take, but I would not. I would not be against them, because it's Flying Hog that's doing the remake. I don't know if you saw, or Flying Wild Hog.
I didn't see that.
Which I think are the people.
Okay, cool.
I
like them.
What franchises have they been the ones of? It was like that. First...
I think they did that Evil West game, which was fun.
Okay, yeah. So I was thinking, why not just remake?
But they're good at visuals.
Like, why not do the Resident Evil thing of remake all the old games while also then Crystal Dynamics just makes the new one. So it's like you have remake the first game, then you have the brand new game, and then you just remake Tomb Raider 2. And then remake Tomb Raider 3.
I mean,
and then have a brand new game, and then remake Tomb Raider 4.
That's what we want with Fallout. Yeah, that's what we want with Fallout. It's like, while you're working on a Fallout spin-off and Fallout 5, get us Fallout 3 remake and then New Vegas. Yeah.
I'm for that. I'm very much for that.
I'm good for that. Yeah, I like that. Because I never really played the old classic Tomb Raiders. I played a little bit of it on PlayStation.
The old Tomb Raider games are great. The old Tomb Raider. It's funny though, because I think this is going to be the third remake of the original Tomb Raider game. If I'm not mistaken.
And Lara Croft looks good. She looks cool. She looks like
Lara
what
Croft,
you
I thought
would
looks
want her
good.
to look.
Yep.
She had
Lara
shorts on.
Yep.
You know, they weren't trying to say, "Hey, it's 2025. We need some modesty. Put her in some capri pants." You know, not that stuff, like, I don't know. It's just kind of like, hey, this is a classic remake, and you're gonna get like modern visuals with the game you used to love, kind of like a Snake Eater.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
I'm all
I think
for
what
it.
happens is they do the remake, and then the next year they put out Catalyst, which is the sequel, right? Or sequelish. And then if the remake does well, then they greenlight Tomb Raider 2 remake. We know that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
They have to see how well that remake sells.
But the other thing,
I don't know how that'll do.
I guess the other thing that's not necessarily tied to this, but it was a studio that was working on another game, Crystal Dynamics. We know they were working on Perfect Dark, and Microsoft canceled the game, and then Take-Two almost saved the game at the last second, and then didn't. But then Take-Two announced this week that they're hiring Daryl Gallagher and somebody else to form...
Brian Horton.
Yeah, to basically lead a brand new studio.
Brian was one of the main leads at the initiative that was just under Daryl Gallagher, that was in one of the VidDoc interviews over and over.
Yeah.
So he's a big player in the initiative and Perfect Dark work.
Which I thought that was
joking.
I thought that was interesting, Colt, that they Take-Two almost saved the game somehow, some way. and then they couldn't, and then they just basically hired Dale Gallagher and Brian Orton to just lead a new studio. They must really feel positive, even though like the initiative never shipped anything. They were founded in 2018 and shut down in 2025, so they were around for 7 years and didn't ship a goddamn thing. And who knows how close Perfect Dark was completing, because if Crystal Dynamics was the main dev on it, are we looking at Perfect Dark in 2028? Because if they're like, hey, Tomb Raider is 2027, I don't know if they also released Perfect Dark in 2027. So
that's what we were saying before we started the show. You and I were talking about that Perfect Dark would have been so much longer.
Was
if they
Perfect
kept
Dark
it alive.
still like 3 years away? And
I'm going to give an unnecessary apology because there's nothing I could do about it. But I was looking back the other day at the Perfect Dark stuff, and on my channel, I had nearly 500,000 views across different videos talking about all the leaks and the build up and the possibilities for the initiative and Perfect Dark and everything in the development. And people were really excited about that game. And I have all these videos I spent time on making, and it's just another one of those promises that Xbox and their studios couldn't deliver. It's really frustrating. In the very last hour, I was really questionable. It was really questionable for me about Perfect Dark, if it was really going to be as good as I had hoped, because from what we saw, I was like, I love the Dying Light movement, but this is kind of beating a dead horse. But
well, people were like, "Where's
Tomb Raider from Daryl Gallagher?"
Yeah, people were like, "Well, hey, where's Perfect Dark? It didn't show up for years." And then there was reports that the development was going rough, and then they showed it off at Game Showcase last year, and it seemed fine. Yeah. And then you didn't see it again this year, and then all of a sudden, they announced that that's canceled. So,
and how I can circle this back to Tomb Raider is because when we first saw the Tomb Raider reboot from Daryl Gallagher and Crystal, it looked incredible. Like everyone was like, "Oh my gosh!" There was no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like there was some doubt with me with Perfect Dark when I look back at the reboot for Tomb Raider. And now Daryl Gallagher is being picked up to work on something else. And I am going to predict that what Brian Horton and Daryl Gallagher produce under 2K will probably be really, really good. And I think they just, that initiative setup was awful and they closed it down. You had 25 industry experts all competing for their vision. And what a horrible setup that was for a studio. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited about the Tomb Raider stuff. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm looking forward to that. Some of the other games that were kind of shown were John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, which really given me like Back 4 Blood vibes. Like,
are you excited about that?
Not really. That comes out in March, I think. Not particularly. PlayStation showed up with an exclusive coming day one on PS5, PS5 Pro, and Steam. Because it's funny because J.J. Abrams was on stage announcing this, and
it's a messy subject, Rand.
It's a game called For Loop, which is a 4-player co-op game. It really kind of just, I don't know. I got like when I was watching the trailer, it really kind of was like Helldivers 2 meets whatever other co-op game, but I wasn't impressed at all. Like, I was like, I would need to see more of this game. I know you had some choice words for it, but I know the time thing always, I do love me some time travel, so that's kind of interesting aspect of it, but like nothing of what I actually saw in the trailer was screamed like, this is a game I need to put on my list or whatever. It didn't really do anything for me. So I don't know if it did anything for you or for anybody in chat, but
I think it's difficult because when I give my opinion about a game that's exclusive to PlayStation, everyone's going to assume that I'm expecting the worst. I could tell you with utmost certainty, if this was an Xbox reveal, I would be wrinkling my forehead way more than it already is wrinkled, because it looks like a pedestrian sci-fi 4-player co-op service-based game, but so did Helldivers, and it won over the world. So it has every has every chance to look amazing. I'm gonna click on this video and watch it here while I say this. Oh my gosh, you have to go way in to actually see it. It's got a cool respawn mechanic, but I mean, it's kind of dumb to say this game will be like one of the biggest games of the year, or it's going to absolutely flop and be dead in a month, because anybody could say that with half a brain cell. But when I look at it, it just doesn't look impressive to me, and it just looks like they're making another Helldivers.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like Helldivers meets Left 4 Dead, because it is from Mike Booth.
What are you fighting in this game? Oh, monsters and stuff.
Yeah. He basically said like he's taking all he learned from Left 4 Dead and applying it to this new project. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and then people are really upset about J.J. Abrams being tied to it because they feel like J.J. Abrams hasn't done anything that they like.
I mean, he's just I think it was Bad Robot Games, and like I think he's the head of Bad Robot. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it didn't really do anything for me. We'll see. I don't know when it's coming out. I don't know if it's coming out next year. I don't know if it's coming out the year after, but I would need to see more from this game. Personally. Then we had something for Coven of the Chicken Foot.
Sorry. Griggle Poop goes, come on, Colt, you've evolved into a PlayStation YouTuber with an ironic Xbox podcast like the rest of them. He's just joking around. But
you're a PlayStation YouTuber now? Why didn't somebody tell me?
Yeah, that's funny. Every once in a while, I'll get one comment out of 7,000 where someone's like, "You're just a PlayStation fanboy," and it always makes me laugh.
Well, I mean, people used to call me an undercover PlayStation fan. I just always laughed at it. Just because, like, if I said something bad about Xbox or whatever, he's just like, "You just love PlayStation." It's like, oh, is that why I'm never playing on my PlayStation? I turned my PlayStation on.
Yeah, unfortunately.
3 times this year.
Yeah, I only played
3 games on PlayStation.
Yeah, I played one game on. Yeah, I played like one. I played Death Stranding 2.
I played Death Stranding 2. I played Dispatch. And I played Sea
You played
of
a couple
Stars.
games that you could have waited for on Xbox, but you didn't want to wait, which is good, which is fine.
Well, I mean, sure, I probably could have waited for Dispatch, but I wanted to play it right away. And when Dispatch comes to Xbox, I'll play it, and I'll just choose different choices.
Yeah.
But Sea of Stars might come to Xbox in the future. Maybe it won't. Because I've played all their games and I really like them. Death Stranding 2 probably will come to Xbox, but it's one of those things where it's like, do I have to wait 5 years like last time? Or
I don't think it would be that long. But...
I mean, you never know. People were sure that Death Stranding 2 was going to get its PC version announced at this show, but that didn't happen, even though it's rated for the ESRB. So we'll see. Do you want to play as an 80-year-old grandma in Coven of the Chicken Foot? What a name for a game. What a name for a game.
What's the name of it again? Coven of the what?
Coven of the Chicken Foot.
Oh, yeah, that was a weird name, yeah. Nah, I'm not interested. It's one of those like little quirky games. Hopefully the devs find some success. Looks interesting enough.
Now this one here, Colt. We talk about favorite announcements of the show. And, if I were to rank certain announcements, it'd be... We talked about the Tomb Raider stuff. We talked about the Star Wars one. But this is one that rocketed up to the close to the top of my list. If I haven't really sorted through all of them yet, but it's for a game called Antos, from the creators of Frictional Games, the creators of Soma. Stellan Skarsgård was doing the voiceover, like a horror. Like, I love Soma, and I saw this trailer, and everything in that trailer I loved. I am so looking forward to playing this game when it comes out. And I want Colt Eastwood to play Soma, even though you never will.
Is it like a narrative, interactive game?
Like Soma is like a narrative interactive game. There's like monsters that kind of follow you around and stuff. But yeah, it's heavy on story. It's heavy on that sort of things. But I didn't know that, Frictional Games was making something like this. So this one rocketed to close to the top of my list. I'm super excited for it.
That's good.
We got the Leon reveal for Resident Evil Requiem coming February 26th.
He's handsome as ever.
Dude, it's weird because that trailer, I thought for the first half of that trailer, it was awful. Like, I was just like, what are we doing here? This doesn't look good. It looks kind of boring. And I mean, I'm playing the game day one regardless, and there have been other trailers that have been fantastic, but for that beginning of this trailer itself, when it was kind of the stuff with Ashley and then or Ashley's the main character's name, or Ashcroft or whatever, and then it was like the character that had the like Sam Fisher glasses on his face, and it was like, this is kind of just.
Yeah.
But then it switched to Leon, and I was like, okay, here we go, because the whole thing is that it's two protagonists, where Miss Ashcroft is your typical kind of survival horror stuff. And when you play as Leon, that's more of the explosive action, as Jeff called it, where it's definitely more action focused. So you probably get two experiences. And I sort of wonder in a game like that, if it's because it almost kind of seems like it's going to be two different games, where one of them you might be sneaking around, hiding because she's not really, like Leon in that sense. And then the other one's going to be this high action stuff where there might be people might gravitate towards one where they're like, oh, I got to fucking play as her again. Man, this sucks. Where it seems risky in that sense. It also seems.
I think people are excited to play as her.
No, I mean, I'm super excited to play it. But I could definitely see someone being like, I only like the Leon parts of this game. Or I only like the Ashcraft parts of this game. And, being you know what I mean? But
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they'll pace it well where you'll enjoy playing as both. And I think people are excited to play as her. So it's like a bonus that you get to play as Leon in the game. So those moments will change up gameplay style or something.
Yeah.
I would love the Resident Evil franchise like everyone else, but my disdain for horror games, it's like, it's just funny that it's one of the most awful parts of me as a gaming fan is that horror games are not enjoyable for me, to be constantly afraid and jump scares and fighting, having some enemies that you can't fight, that you have to avoid. There's a couple games I've not played that are really, really amazing because I don't like that sort of thing, like Alien Isolation. I wish I wanted to play that, but I just wouldn't enjoy my time of being scared. Anyway, but yeah.
Jonathan Blow had his new game, Order the Sinking Star, puzzle game. Not interested in whatsoever.
That was made by like the people that made The Witness.
Yeah, The Witness and Braid. Yeah. We have the next Mass Effect. We got a new trailer for Exodus. This is the I think Matthew McConaughey voices a character in this. Yeah. And it's coming early 2027. I am quite looking forward to this game.
I'm surprised it's coming out, not making it 26.
Yeah, I'm not that surprised. Maybe it was set for fall, and they're like, oh shit, Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto's coming. Move it to early 2027 instead. I'm quite looking forward to this. Peter F. Hamilton wrote like the book that ties into all this stuff, and the second book comes out to finish the story. So I'm gonna read both of those books before I play the game. But it really, really, really. I've been looking forward to like a space opera, sci-fi game in the vein of Mass Effect for so long now.
I should do that too.
And I'm just like,
I should read those books.
You're not gonna read the books. They're like, the first book's like 800 pages. So.
Oh, okay. I just went through Mass Effect Revelations, so I'll have to read this one so I can like get like fully invested into Exodus.
What do you think of the look of the game, and does it remind you of Mass Effect a lot or no?
It reminds me more of quite a bit of Andromeda because the movement. That's
not good praise.
And combat.
that's bad.
Well, okay, hold on. It reminds me, the movement and the posture and the combat is it's like 80% Andromeda, which is the only part of Andromeda that is good. The combat is unbelievably great. It's just the story and characters that suck in that game. So it's got the best parts of Andromeda, the only good part. But the way the humans' faces look, they're just a little too... like Mass Effect Trilogy looks photorealistic to me, and this looks more stylized. but I'll get over it because it looks like it's gonna be really awesome.
Yeah,
and it's got the best people that made the Mass Effect games. So
I'm really
Mass
looking
Effect
forward to the
Revelations is a prequel book that takes place before Saren went rogue.
Ah, okay.
So
this is also
it's the whole story of Captain Anderson and Saren and the people involved there.
Yeah, they also had a trailer for Warlock as well, but that was more of CGI thing. That they brought out Trisha Helfer to announce, and they said we see more in the summer and stuff. So there's that. Now this other next game, we talk about announcements for the show, whereas Antos is up there in the Star Wars announcement and the Tomb Raider stuff, but I got really excited for Control Resonant.
Oh yeah.
This is essentially Control 2, and it's coming out next year, which is a surprise. I didn't think their next game would be so soon. I am kind of shocked because you play as her brother. You don't play as Jesse in this game. You play as I forget the name of his brother. Something with the D. Declan.
Does he show up in Control?
Yeah, in Control.
Is he on screen?
In Control, he's in the box that Jesse interrogates him. Like I think he's one of the reasons why the Hiss are in the old house in the first place. So
the combat looks really, really good because it's not just guns and throwing boxes. So yeah, this is
because even the board even says in the little cutscene like she's gone rogue. So
okay.
And then it showed it's not necessarily gun focused. It's more melee based. So you say like changing the melee weapons from like a sword to a hammer or whatever. Because people think of Control, they think of the telekinesis, the floating around, the guns, the gun that could change to many different guns. So this one, you might still be able to float around and fly, but it seems like it's definitely more going to be more of a melee based thing. I've told you this before, and people know this. I am a Remedy fanboy. I didn't play their most recent multiplayer game because I had no interest in multiplayer from Remedy. FBC thing. Like nobody seemed to like that game. But
Fire Break or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Like the Quantum Break and the Alan Wake games. I mean, Alan Wake 2. You want to talk about? I think it's if I were to rank games of the generation, that's in my top 5. Like Cyberpunk's number 1, Elden Ring's number 2. Alan Wake 2's probably 3, Expedition 33 is probably 4, or interchangeable thing. I can't wait for the Max Payne remakes, Max Payne 1 and 2, because they're doing the remakes, right? Of Max Payne 1 and 2. Can't wait for those.
Yeah. Haven't heard anything about that in a long time.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for Control 2. And I am shocked that we're not playing as Jesse, because I thought after, the DLCs in the game, and she's brought up in Alan Wake 2, I was like, okay, well, we'll just have another story with Jesse. She's in one of the DLCs for Alan Wake 2. And you're like, oh, Control 2 is just going to continue her story, tie some more things together. But it's the brother that was caged, and Jesse's not around. And so that really, I guess that makes it more interesting, because now it's already, they've completely diverged from what I thought it would be,
Yeah.
Which is exciting to me. So like I'm kind of shocked that the game's coming next year, because Alan Wake 2 is in 2023. They put out their multiplayer game in 2025, and then we're basically getting Control 2 next year. So they're working fast, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
My buddy Gopher was going crazy for City of Dragon, or Gang of Dragon, which I guess was the Yakuza guy. He left and formed a new studio, and this is his new game.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if there was some sort of Yakuza tie in there.
Yeah.
And then you've got the I don't know the name of the actor, but he's always been awesome in Doctor Strange and the other Marvel stuff.
And this one,
Yeah,
next one is Colt's game of the show, Animo.
Uh-oh. What?
Animo.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't even remember what it is.
Animo.
Yeah, Animo.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Animo. We got the Street Fighter movie look. had a little trailer for. They brought out the characters for Street Fighter. Then they made fun of the Mortal Kombat 2 people, which was, I don't think, in the script. Got to see a little.
No, that was his joke. That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did a good job picking Jason Momoa as Blanka.
Dude, Jason Momoa
is awesome.
Blanka is inspired.
That's
casting.
awesome.
Inspired. It's so good. Roman Reigns.
I think they got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was into wrestling, I'd be able to tell you who those iconic people are that are playing like Guile and stuff, but I know they picked the right people.
Cody Rhodes.
It looks like people are happy.
We got
I'll tell you real quick.
Okay.
I was at the end of high school. This is how old I am. It was like, I think it was right before I graduated when the Mortal Kombat movie came out to the theaters. And I didn't play Mortal Kombat then. I just saw it in the cabinets in the arcade. I didn't play it. I didn't really know anything about it. My friends and I went and watched the movie, and I was like, this movie's awesome.
Mortal Kombat movie was
and
great.
I wasn't even a Mortal Kombat fan. It was
Yeah.
like back in 95 or something. Anyway.
We got a Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight trailer, which also gives a release date of like late May. And I said this to my friends when we were watching it. I'm like, I'm kind of looking forward to this. And they just kind of were like, really, Rand? I know you want a Batman game, but don't lower yourself to playing a Lego game. I'm like, but it's got the combat from Arkham Asylum. It's got the Arkham combat.
Mm-hmm.
It looks so good. And they're just like, come on, Rand. But
It does look good, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, look, Batman's my favorite superhero. It's been a long time since there's been a Batman game. And this is kind of a celebration of everything Batman, from the movies to the games. And it looks like it's actually going to be fun to play and get in combat. So I'm more than likely going to play this game, Colt.
So this Batman game covers the Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Clooney, and Christian Bale Batmans as well as the Arkham video game Batmans?
I mean, yeah, you watch the trailer, it definitely seems like it covers some of the games too.
That's so iconic. And one of my friends makes fun. He's like, I don't want to play as a little midget Batman made out of plastic. I'm like, this game does look really fun. I wish it was more mature, but it just looks like a fun game.
Yeah, well, Rock said he had to go make a Suicide Squad game and rob us of a... and then WB Montreal made a Batman game without Batman in it. In Gotham Knights. So
I want to sidebar real quick. You and I had this discussion over the phone, but you guys talked last week about WB and Netflix and Paramount, and what would you do with the studios if you were looking at WB's game studios? Because like if Netflix doesn't want them, like which ones would you keep and which ones would you sell off?
Well, it's good you bring it up because Netflix did talk about this. They said, while they definitely have been doing some great work in the game space, we actually didn't attribute any value to that from the get-go because they're relatively minor compared to the grand scheme of things. Now, we're super excited because some of those properties that they've built, Hogwarts is a great example of that, have done quite well, and we think that we can incorporate that into what we're offering. They've got great studios and great folks working there, so we think that there's definitely an opportunity there, but just to be clear, we haven't built that into our deal model. So,
gosh.
I mean, people have read this many different ways. People have read this as as basically a shot at those studios being like, "Hey, if Netflix acquires WB, you might want to like start looking for a new job." Right? Because Netflix has kind of done 180 on games. They tried building up a studio and then they shut it down within a year. And now you're buying Warner Brothers and now you have all these big AAA studios that make, games for them that take a long time. Now they specifically called out Hogwarts, and Hogwarts was super successful. So I don't know, there are people think that once they get them, maybe they just sell off all the studios to someone else. Hey, who wants NetherRealm? Or hey, who wants Rocksteady?
Yeah.
And maybe some publishers or some private financing decide to buy them or what have you. Or maybe they just come in and just shut them down because they don't want to do anything with gaming. But I mean, they specifically call out Hogwarts. So I would imagine like Hogwarts 2, whenever that does come out, is going to be the best-selling game that year. So
yeah,
it's not that...
It's probably a couple years out.
Yeah, it's probably... I'm not sure it's as bad of a sign as some people hope like or think it is. I mean, they're just basically saying like, yeah, what we value about WB really doesn't have anything to do with the game segment of it, and I guess we'll just have to see what happens there. I would imagine if they really weren't interested in the game part and they just were like, they would just probably start selling the studios. I don't think necessarily they just would shut them down and come in and shut them down. But I mean, that Hogwarts game is going to make a ton of money when it comes out. And if Rocksteady's making a Batman game, that's probably also going to make a ton of money too. And you can do a lot of great cross synergy stuff if you also hold like the rights to, hey, we got a Harry Potter TV show and the Harry Potter game and the Batman movie and the Batman game and stuff. There's a lot of cool crossovers and things you can do. So maybe it's not as bad as it sounds or as people think it might be, but yeah. Let's see. We got the console announcement for 2XKO, which is a fighting game from the Valorant people. Phasmophobia
that's like
coming to Switch.
Kind of a retro-looking game. Yeah.
Got a announcement for Invincible versus Ella, which new character. A trailer for Forest 3, which I was watching this trailer and I'm like, what is this? It looks cool. And it was Forest 3 and I'm like, oh. Don't really know.
What is the Forest franchise?
I honestly don't know. I think it's a PC
I
thing.
know the Forest is like a survival.
Yeah, I think it's a survival game, isn't it?
A survival building game, but this is Forestry, so I'm like, am I not familiar with this? Are you guys familiar with this? Guys watching with the Forest franchise? I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Diablo
and
Floor.
It looks like a lot of people checked out this trailer, bro.
I mean, it was...
We got 250,000 views on just the Forestry trailer.
It was a big surprise. We got Diablo 4 trailer for Lord of Hatred expansion. Which was Jez was saying was going to be there with a new class, the Paladin class, which seem to be a lot of people really have been looking for, because the Paladin class hasn't been in Diablo since Diablo 2. So people love their Paladin. So that's coming out in April. Deadpool's coming to Marvel Rivals. Lenny Kravitz is a villain in 007 First Light for some reason.
Right.
I was like, okay. Lords of the Fallen 2. Got a gameplay trailer. I'm, whatever. Not really a big fan.
What's your excite meter for 007, by the way?
It's weird because I said I was quite looking forward to it, and my buddies were like, nobody's looking forward to that game, Rand. I'm like, what are you talking about? It looks cool. Like, no, it looks bad. I'm like, you guys are doubting IOI Interactive? I mean, you guys love Hitman. He's like, well, this isn't Hitman. I'm like, I don't know. I think 007 looks cool. I think that game's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not expecting
it will be too.
The intricacies of the Hitman game in them, but I think it's going to be a fun time. So I'm very looking forward to it. Got a new trailer for Saros that got delayed as well. It's coming out in April instead of May, or April instead of March. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Returnal, I think, is the best PlayStation exclusive this generation, in my opinion. So it's
definitely their most new concept, and they're one of their few new IPs this generation.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Saros.
I think Saros looks more enjoyable than Returnal when I look at that gameplay. I'm pretty excited. It doesn't look as bullet hell as Returnal to me. Or what do you think when you see it? It's not the same game to me.
They're very, 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 very similar. It seems like they maybe taken the things that they learned from Returnal and their other bullet hell-ass games, and they've made something new.
Like you have the bubble shield, and you have like the shotgun, and a bunch of the gameplay. It looks more like up my alley. I played a little bit of Returnal.
What'd you think of No Law? When I was watching this, I was like, is this Cyberpunk 2082? It looked like a Cyberpunk sequel.
2078.
I was like, what is this? It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know. That looks really cool. People are excited. I hope it lives up to its hype.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny. I turned on the like ratio this morning to see how people were receiving some of these trailers. And yeah, I don't know. it's just interesting. People just really bag and dog on reveals pretty harsh, like right at the get go. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not a Total War
Let's see
fan,
on-
but I do think Total War Warhammer 40K is like a good idea, and it did look pretty interesting and pretty cool. I mean, I'm not gonna play it because I'm not a fan of like the gameplay style, but I was like, damn, for anybody that's into Warhammer or Total War, that's probably like a massive announcement for them.
What about Lords of the Fallen 2? Oh, that's the next one on your list.
Yeah, Lords of the Fallen 2, I'm not really a fan of. I didn't play the first one. I'm not despite Elden Ring 2 being my, second game of the generation and me loving Sekiro, I'm not a big fan of Souls-likes. And every time I do see a game with like some cool looking art or whatever, and I'm like, is this a Souls-like?
But you liked Liza P, didn't you?
I didn't play Liza P.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel the genre is saturated. And I understand why, right? Like with the success of the Dark Souls games and Elden Ring and developers, copying that because they really like it and stuff. But as someone who watches these things, I'm like, man, this got some cool art. But then it's like, oh, it's just another Souls-like game. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to play Lords of the Fallen 2. So despite how, cool some of it looks, I just don't care. My buddy Gopher went crazy
nice looking.
for this next announcement. Colt, he went absolutely nuts. Ace Combat 8, Wings of Thev. It's been 7 years since Ace Combat 7.
Let me take a look at this one again.
Yeah, flying around and playing.
I played 7 for a little bit. It got enhanced on Xbox One X, and it looked really nice. Hold on, oh my gosh, the gameplay is non-existent in this trailer.
Nah, they got some snippets of it. I mean, it's basically just flying around and playing shooting. But apparently it's quite good. Ace Combat 7 reviewed pretty well.
Yeah, there's no actual gameplay in this trailer. It has some third-person, some like cinematic cameras, but you never actually see any gameplay in it. There's a couple of in-engine shots, but I don't know. Hey, good for that franchise.
Yeah.
It's nice looking.
Another surprise, we got a second Star Wars announcement, but this time for a pod racer called Galactic Racer from X Criterion devs. So X Burnout, X Need for Speed devs.
That's a good thing.
People have been clamoring for a pod racer game for a long time, so hopefully it turns out good. Is that something that you be wanting to get into? Because I know...
Yeah, back in the day, back when I wasn't gaming much, I did play the Star Wars pod racing game, which has a lot of content in it. So I played all of that back in the day. And so knowing that you have the Burnout Criterion guys, that it'll really have a good feel in the racer. And you're not just racing pods, you're racing mini starships and speeder bikes and everything. So if there's an online component to this, it's going to be pretty crazy, but that looks cool. It's all at 30 frames with cinematic blur. I think it's all... I don't know if they said it was... Let me look real quick and see if it's in-engine. It'll say, yeah, game in-engine footage. Yeah, so you're looking at high-quality 30 FPS footage here. So it looks like a movie. It's, as Jez would say, it's very cinematic.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that, sure.
It's funny. We got a member chat here.
You don't play racers that much.
No, I mean, I play Forza. I mean, I do play racers when I'm interested in them, like Crew 2.
Oh, yeah, you awesome. And I loved Crew Motorfest.
Crew Motorfest.
Go play that on Game Pass, guys. It's actually better than you think.
Yeah. William Chris, member for 11 months, says, thanks, Colt, from saving us from the World of Warcraft discussion this week. Hope all is well with Jez. No, everything's well with Jez. He just wasn't... Let's just say he just wasn't allowed to do the show today. And I'll leave it at that. He wasn't allowed to.
Phil Spencer said he couldn't.
I mean, I know Jez has been dealing with like headaches and stuff, and he's going to the doctors. He's physically able to do the show, but he was just not allowed to do the show. So take from that what you will. Chris says, I like the Game Pass commercial. It's amazing what Xbox can do when the marketing strat isn't for the love of God buy anything but an Xbox console. Yeah, they actually did have a long Game Pass trailer in here, which I thought was pretty well done. It was like a guy going through a vault of games and opening up different vaults or whatever. And it ended with coming soon with the Gears of War logo on it. So I actually thought that ad was pretty good. And I was thinking to myself, Xbox paid $1 million for this, at least to give it to Keighley to show off. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
I just thought it would be better for them. They spent the money to make the trailer, which is good to have an advertisement, but it's like you have all these games in the works. Is there just something that's not supposed to be at Developer Direct that's coming out in 2027 that you want to like show? Apparently they don't have anything ready, and it's like why give that to Jeff Keighley when we could do that at the showcase in June? But my position, like our position is, we podcast, we create content, so we get to talk to more than 5 people. Thankfully, we have an audience of a few people that listen to what we have to say. And speaking on behalf of the other fans, like, wouldn't you like Xbox to showcase something at the biggest show of the entire year on the planet Earth? Like, I think that's really good. It's expensive. I think maybe Microsoft doesn't want to spend that kind of money, but then you had the Game Pass ad there. So I'm sure that, the financials said, let's sell some Game Pass subs instead of getting people hyped about a game that's coming out in a year or two. But I would have liked to see them capitalize. Hey, we're Xbox. Here we are.
I mean, I guess they probably could have had a trailer for Forza Horizon 6 and being like, hey, Forza Horizon 6 is coming. Here's what it looks like or whatever. But at the same time,
they want to do that in a month. They're doing that in a month.
They got their own show in a month.
Something else.
So, like, at that point,
just pick a studio that's working on something that hasn't been revealed yet, and say, hey, do you guys can you make a 1 minute, reveal, and we'll be at the biggest show if you're ready.
I think a lot of those things are decided well in advance, like when marketing cycles start for games and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's just like a game that might be 2027 or 2028. They're not ready to put out yet. And I think they've even talked about announcing games closer and closer to their release date because of how certain things have gone, right? We mentioned Perfect Dark, revealed in 2020, canceled in 2025, and it sounded like maybe it wouldn't even be ready to 2028. You know what I mean? Like, right. Fable revealed in 2020, and hopefully it's out next year. I mean, there's all that group of games or whatever, so it's like...
The reality is they've canceled like maybe 6 or 8% of the games that they've showcased. But,
I think they're just going to be holding on to announcements. I mean, Ninja Gaiden 4 has been in development for 5 years, but that was a game they announced this year and came out this year. And for a lot of people,
I just think Xbox doesn't have the luxury to be out front and try to be as big as everybody else, so they kind of hang in the shadows and make some financial decisions. And one of those is to not have a big reveal at the Game Awards.
I also think sometimes...
They probably will next year.
I think sometimes it just really depends on the year and what you have, right? Like, because 2022 or 2023 didn't have anything. And people were really upset. But then it was like we had Dev Direct in January.
That was awful.
Or was that 2020? It was...
2023 was when Phil and Sarah was sitting there and Phil looked like... had that awkward...
So 2023 was when they
all they had was party animals, or maybe it was 22.
I'm trying to think. What was the year where they revealed Blade and OD was on stage, like when Kojima came on, and they had the Hellblade 2. That was 2023, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And then I think
so they did reveal Blade a couple years ago.
So sometimes it just matters on timing and when things getting announced. And it's like, yeah, they probably, if there necessarily wasn't a Dev Direct, it's like, yeah, we probably could have a Gears trailer, or we could have a Fable trailer, or we could have a Forza trailer, or the Halo stuff that they just did. Remember all the Halo stuff they did at the end of October? Maybe they could have shifted that to just the award show and had it happen then.
Yeah,
but they decided not to for whatever
reason. And I'm not going to make an excuse for Xbox, like, oh, they have Developer Direct in 42 days or whatever. I think Xbox needs to stop thinking that way. They need to think, here's a pie chart, and we need to set aside some priority for the biggest gaming show of the entire year. And my friend made a really good point. I'm like, well, they have the developer direct, but I think they should be at the Game Awards. He goes, oh, great. They're going to show all their stuff at a show that gets 5% of the viewers that the Game Awards gets. I mean, how can you deny the amount of eyeballs that are on the Jeff Keighley show? And I know you don't need to show something that's coming out in 2026 because some of the biggest reveals last night were 2027 games. And so I think it's perfectly acceptable to say, hey, Game Awards is coming up in 2025. Let's have a big reveal. We'll just have that. Let's pick one big reveal so that we have a presence at the show. And PlayStation, it's not the console war thing. PlayStation had their reveal with the Bad Robot game, the 4-loop.
Which you were making fun of, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really my thing, but I don't know. Xbox doesn't have the luxury to sit out the Game Awards. They're a massive platform. They're one of the biggest gaming publishers. They need to act like it, and they need to show their fans and new fans, we've got big things coming, and we're here on the biggest night ever. And I think Colin Prime in your chat was like, it's a cop-out that Xbox is like, oh, we have Showcase in June and Developer Direct next month.
I mean, I don't think it's a cop-out.
I think just carve it out.
I mean, I don't think it's a cop-out whatsoever.
That they're going to save it for their own show?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think it's...
I mean, you talk about did EA show anything at this showcase? Did Take-Two? I mean, you talk about Xbox being the biggest thing and that they need to be there, but you could...
What do they have? What does EA have?
I could go through and list a whole bunch of publishers that weren't at the show, that didn't show anything.
Well, I can tell you one publisher that needs to be out in front of as many eyes as possible, and that's Xbox. They really do. They have to make up for lost ground.
Lost ground in what?
And well, I mean, they've given the world probably the worst year in gaming platform history of very disappointing. They canceled their 3 or 4 games. They closed the studio. They hiked the price of the console twice in a 14-month period. They brought Game Pass up to $30, and they've become kind of a I don't know what the word is. They've kind of become the bad guy, and I have to make up a lot of goodwill that they've lost.
Sure, okay, but if they showed off Forza and here at the show, does that make them the good guy all of a sudden? Does that make up for any of the things that they've done wrong in 2025 then? I just don't follow the logic of they've done all these bad things, so you have to show a couple things at a Jeff Keighley show because suddenly by showing those things, sentiment around Xbox will change drastically and people will be viewed in a better light.
When people get excited about a platform's game they're working on, that's a good thing. But when you bring and the Game Pass ad was a good ad. It wasn't cringy. It was actually really good. I thought it was really good. So hopefully that helps. But when your message to the fans this past year is like, we're sorry, we have to make cuts, prices are going up, we're backing off of consoles. We didn't do anything Black Friday, and then you don't show up at the Game Awards to talk about these 40 projects or anything that you're working on. Yeah, and I know Xbox will be fine. I think they're bigger than ever. But I think, why aren't you taking advantage of the biggest gaming night of the year by representing some new thing to get people excited? I didn't think they were going to show the new consoles. It's way too early.
I mean, yeah, I don't know why anybody would.
I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm serious. Like, it is as simple as Matt Booty going to one of the 30 studios and saying, "Hey, who's got something ready that they think they can reveal in 30 seconds to 1 minute at the Game Awards, the biggest night ever? Anybody feel good with that?" And one of the studios would raise their hand and say, "Hey, we've got these renderings together."
I don't think that's how that works, Gold. I don't think it's like Matt Booty's like gets on a call with them. He's like, who can show something by this point in time?
Well,
Raise your hand.
It's not Matt Booty. It's marketing and sure. Publishing. It's not Matt Booty's team, but Matt Booty is the one who goes and talks to the studios. Hey, who's ready? I don't think you're asking for a miracle to say, does anyone have something ready for the biggest game night of the year?
Well, I mean, clearly things would be ready because you're about to see, next month 5 games, maybe all of them from Xbox or maybe 4 of them. So obviously they could have been ready to show something at the Dev Direct, whether it was Forza, whether it was Fable, whether it was Gears or whatever I guess whatever would be in January, they'd probably be ready to show in December. But
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things where, do you want to show it at the Game Awards? Does it really matter? You look at the perception of the show itself, and like we mentioned, what is it, a C minus?
Yeah.
I guess you can make the argument: does even showing anything at the Game Awards even have a lasting impact?
You
know,
what makes the show better is more reveals of stuff that you are excited about. That's
Sure.
what makes the show better.
No, I mean,
So,
absolutely.
and I know it's not asking for the moon and the stars for Xbox to carve out and say, is there one thing that we can show that's new at the Game Awards, the biggest night ever?
Well, I mean,
I think as a mark, and I work in communications and public outreach and PR for my actual real job. I don't do YouTube is full time, and this is something proactively that they should be looking at. But I also understand that Xbox has a massive pinch point on them when it comes to spending money, and that's why I said about 10 minutes ago, the powers probably said, if we're going to spend $1 million for a moment at Jeff Keighley, let's turn that into a renewable revenue stream by marketing Game Pass, because Game Pass has been incredible this year. Xbox themselves put out almost a dozen games brand new. They had multiple Game of the Year nominations in Game Pass, and I'm surprised Game Pass hasn't actually seen a spike in subs, but they've done really, really well. But when I say it'd be great for them to show get people excited about upcoming stuff, because this year has been really rough from the optics of the brand. And I don't think that's really that arguable to say.
They did actually show some, though.
What'd they show?
They showed Diablo, which I guess you could argue does make sense
in
the sense of the show, because the update was coming the next day. And the expansion is coming in April, so it's like, this is what we have. And
I just wanted to see Redfall
planned for a while.
All right,
you did.
Or Crackdown 4.
You did. It was called For Loop.
Yeah. No.
I think
Diablo is a big thing.
I think
That's true.
I also look at it like this: like, Xbox is, as you mentioned, biggest publisher, right?
Yep.
And I think they want people to tune into their own shows and their own productions to see what they're working on. So it's like, why are we trying to make Jeff Keighley shows bigger when we can do our own things and save our own announcements for our own shows that people can tune into? Why are we giving it to Keighley and then paying Keighley to show the things that we should hold off on our own thing to make it as bigger as possible? I think maybe that's
a good point.
Like, because like you mentioned, they are the biggest, right? But if you're constantly giving stuff to Keighley, that doesn't really seem it that way. It's like you have to have your own shows and your own things, and you have to build them up with games that people are excited to see. And I think if you constantly are just shoveling things off to Jeff because, well, it's the biggest night in gaming.
I said one reveal, but
right, I know, but I'm just saying, I think there's a sense of we need to make our own shows bigger that people want to tune in for.
How big what's the ratio of Summer Games Fest compared to Xbox Game Showcase? Like half, maybe?
I don't know.
Half as big?
I don't know.
Because the Xbox shows are really big. And of course, they're going to save the biggest and the best reveals.
So
gameplay reveals for those two.
What I was thinking is, like I mentioned this earlier, but I really think when you think about like the PR timelines of, okay, when are we going to do these sort of things? But the Xbox could have easily, if they wanted to, at some point decided, let's shift all the stuff for the Halo remake and move it to the Game Awards, where you have the reveal at the Game Awards, and then you have the articles written from people playing it, and it could have been like a Game Awards announcement, because they tied it to the Halo World Championship Series and all that stuff at the end of October. End of October isn't really that far from like the beginning of December. So you could have held off on that if you really were worried about having a big announcement for the Game Awards. Like, because a Halo remake announcement at the Game Awards would have been big, and then the whole expose about how it plays and all that stuff. But, I mean, they just did it at the end, you know, in
On
some,
its own, it did really well without Jeff's
right. I'm
show,
saying they could have, if they were really worried about that, to move it to there. So they decided to do it with Diablo because it was scheduled to come the next, you know, go live the next day, and they have their. So I think there were opportunities for them to do stuff there if they wanted to switch things around for sure. But it seems like they're just working on their own, and they're not going to be like, hey, Jeff Keighley's great, but you know, we're not just going to.
It's probably really boiled down to the budget, where Microsoft's like, why would we spend that much money when we already have a considerable audience across Dev, Direct, and Showcase? But yeah, and if you can't win the financial argument internally, like we can argue about it, you and I, and the chat can give their opinion, but the one that wins is Tim Stewart, right? Who says, "Look, this is what we want you to do with the money."
Hey, Tim Stewart's not even in charge of at Xbox anymore. I don't know if you saw that today.
Yeah, he's going to ZeniMax.
He's CEO of ZeniMax, and some guy I've never heard of
He's going to be CEO of Fallout 76.
Oh, geez.
He's a really nice guy. I've met him in person. He's super nice.
Yeah, I think I played Destiny 2 with him a couple times back
that's
when
cool.
they were playing Destiny 2, but yeah.
I didn't know he played a lot of stuff.
That was like back in 2015, 2016. But yeah, he's COO of Fallout of what? Yeah, Bethesda and some other
Elder
guys.
Scrolls and Fallout and yeah.
Who's in? Let me see.
Yeah.
I think I saved this. Let's see. Xavier Borkoniski is now Microsoft Gaming CFO. I've never So Borkoniski has been at Microsoft nearly 12 years, and has spent the past couple of years on the gaming finance side. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, well, I thought that Phil Spencer was going to retire at the Game Awards. I heard that
yeah. I mean, I don't
trusted insider.
I never. I mean, there are people out there that the console was canceled and that, you know, Phil was going to retire at the Game Awards, which never made any sense when that was brought up. And it's like, why would anybody come to the Game Awards to announce their retirement? I'm like, that's
so
literally
weird. He's like,
dumb.
And the winner of Best Audio Design is Battlefield 6.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm
retiring. I was just like, this is stupid. Like, I don't know. I don't know how.
Pearson Chat says, I was more excited for Dev Direct having long form reveals coming up than I am of a 30-second trailer at TGA. Yeah, I mean, Paris, I know that there's going to be several, I'll say, air quote, several, game breakdowns of Dev Direct. I love those shows to death. But something like, a reveal for something coming out way later that's not ready to be fully seen yet would be pretty cool in that big moment. But I don't know. I guess I could sit here and say they need to do more. They need to put something at Jeff's show, but you already proved to me, Rand. They already showed Blade a couple of years ago. Like every other year, they make a presence at the Game Awards. Some years they don't, some they do.
Yeah, but it's like anything else. Some years they do, some years they don't, and it's the same as every other publisher. Some years PlayStation shows up, some years they don't.
But
EA,
my gripes with
Take-Two.
Yeah, and my gripes with the platform perception and optics and some of the choices they made with price hikes and stuff. We've all complained about that. But every time I take a step back and go, but Xbox is delivering so many good games. And when they used to not have any games and they were so pro-consumer, right? They were trying so hard. Dollar Game Pass, which is back, by the way.
Game Pass is back, huh?
It is, yeah. The Game Pass Ultimate has $1 trial right now. So, I mean, I'm so happy with the scope and amount of really good games they've been putting out, and I'm hearing some of their studios have more stuff than we thought they were going to make, and I'll break that down when I can later. But yeah, I don't know. It's you and I have talked quite a bit about Xbox trajectory since 2024 happened, and the result has been, they've changed the game, like what's exclusive and what's not, but I am so happy with their game output. It's been really great. And I'm looking forward to Dev Direct because we're going to see those games in action that are coming out by the end of the year. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Let's see. We have
where's Half-Life 3, by
Don
the way?
Otaku, who says the best part of the TGAs is Xbox and Nintendo taking home awards while Sony took home nothing gaming related, even though they were the most nominated. Yeah, they were. They had 19 nominations. And they only won for a TV show that I think half the audience hated and half the audience even forgot existed. But yes.
Crazy, huh?
I mean, it was just a year of it was a year of a dominant game. I mean, Claire Expedition just dominated everything, and it was as soon as I finished playing that game and back in April, I knew I was like it's going to win everything.
Yeah.
And nothing, and there was a lot of high profile, high rated games this year. And I remember, I think I told you this, and I came on the show after I finished Death Stranding 2. I'm like, Death Stranding 2, great game, doesn't stand a chance of winning anything at the Game Awards. I literally said that.
Yeah,
I literally told you
I
that. And
felt
what
the
happened?
same.
Didn't win shit.
Didn't win anything. And Kojima was so gracious about it too.
Yeah, Kojima.
You know, you said something about Ghosts of Yotei that I thought was pretty interesting.
Did I?
Because it was up for a bunch of nominations.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said before the show?
I don't. What did I say?
You said, I remember everything Rand says because he's so memorable. He said, Ghost of Tsushima didn't win any awards. Why would you think that Ghost of Yotei would win a bunch of awards this year? And we love Ghost of Tsushima. I don't even remember. It had to win some awards back in 2019, 2020.
I mean, that's just my recollection. I don't know if it actually. I want to say it didn't win anything, but maybe it did.
Probably won one thing or something, but
yeah,
a game that good didn't win a bunch of awards, and then the sequel is, you know, an integer of improvement over the original.
Maybe it won Best Art Direction. You know, because the art
Tsushima.
Yeah,
it should have.
But then again,
it really should have.
You know, would it have won it again for similar art? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, just
it was pretty interesting with Erica Isha she had a huge Ghosts of Yotei popcorn tub on her lap. Like I don't know if Sucker Punch made it for her to take, but she had this popcorn tub with the inscripted logo on it, and she was scarfing down popcorn when they were cutting to her, and a lot of people were talking about that. But she's up against some pretty tough competition.
Yeah.
For best character or actress.
Yeah, and we got Adam from member for 12 months says 2 Americans running the show. Damn, we really overthrew King Jez. No more royal decrees, just straight freedom and way better teeth, lol. Yeah, Jez isn't here for this episode. He'll be back next week once he gets permission to be back on the show. Once he's allowed to. But until then, we get to enjoy Colt's company on the show.
Before you read the next one, I didn't get your opinion on Lara Croft's new mechanical device she has for the new game.
Oh, the zip line? Or not the zip line.
The grappling hook.
The grappling hook? Cool. Grappling hooks always make games better, don't they? So
they do. It's kind of like a given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They announced the release date for Phantom Blade 0, which is coming September 9th. It's like, yeah, we're going to come out the end of the year.
Is that a China Hero project?
Is that a China Hero project? I don't know. I think it's
because it's not coming to Xbox. It's
a Korean
game,
I think.
PC.
I think the devs are Korean.
Oh, okay.
I could be mistaken, but that's kind of what I was thinking. But
I
that's
don't know
coming
why
September
that game
9th.
is missing Xbox.
Because I think Sony has a deal with them.
Okay.
A new Mega Man game was announced, which is, I guess, not surprising because it kind of leaked beforehand that they wanted to make a new Mega Man game or whatever. So Mega Man Dual Overdrive is the name's coming in 2027.
It's 2D, thankfully.
2D.
So it's classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Man's
We'll see.
all right
We'll see when it comes out in 2027. And then they ended. The final reveal is a game called High Guard from the makers of Apex Legends and Titanfall, and they said that stuff, and I was like, oh. And then it looked like the most generic FPS I've seen in a long time. Hero shooter, medieval
Looks
inspired.
like Paladins from 2015.
MOBA, and I just there are a lot of people upset about this, and I'm not upset because it's like I haven't played the game, but my first thought when I saw it was a lot of money exchanged hand if this was the final reveal. And it is cool that the game is releasing in 7 weeks instead of something like Star Wars, which is 5 years away. Mm-hmm. But I joked with my friends after the show. I was like, we just saw a trailer for a game that has a good likelihood of disappearing after 6 months of being shut down because nobody's playing it.
You're so negative.
I'm just, that's the state of the market. It has nothing necessarily to do with this game. There's all these live service games doing all these incredible things with all these incredible players. And here's this game. And just because your pedigree is like, hey, I worked on Apex Legends and I worked on Titanfall. Great. But what is this game going to do that's going to move the needle in any way? Because we've seen plenty of games that come out that have big, giant hopes. In fact, I didn't send this to you, but I sent it to Jez. And I want to even ask you, have you even heard of this game? So this King, I saw this PC Gamer article. King of Meat Studio was reportedly expecting 100,000 concurrent players, but it peaked at 320 on Steam, and that was during a free weekend. An Insider Gamer report says Glowmade Games will lay off employees in January 2026 after its debut game, the Amazon-published King of Meat, flopped badly.
King of Meat. Right?
I've never even heard of this game. But apparently, it was at Jeff Keighley's Gamescom still, right? It had like a Gamescom
at Summer Games Fest.
Mr. Beast did a whole video about it. He had a whole creator tournament about it where they flew in a huge bunch of creators and it was a $250,000 thing. Yeah, it had an announcement trailer at Jeff Keighley's hosted opening night live show at Gamescom 2024.
What?
And an entire Mr. Beast special, complete with a $250,000 prize. And the game came out. They expected 100,000 concurrent players, and it peaked at 320. And if you look right now,
it's like an isometric MOBA or something.
But if you look right now, there's like 10 people playing it,
and it looks like a game made for the original Switch. I'm not trying to bash the graphic style.
But I'm asking you,
saying that
do you remember
like.
This game from Keighley's show?
I've never even heard of it.
Last year, 2024?
No, I don't even remember a trailer for it at all. It's the first time hearing of it.
So this was at their show, and this had a big, huge Mr. Beast push, and nobody cared. But the bosses still thought it was going to pull 100,000 people. So my thoughts originally, from seeing this game Highguard, I'm just like, how are we sure it's not just going to do that, where they think there's this big expectations and our game's so good and it's going to pull so many people, and then it doesn't do anything. I mean, I guess you could make Arc Raiders. It's like, Arc Raiders kind of came out of nowhere for sure, and it's dominated.
And Apex Legends came out of nowhere and was one of the biggest games of 2019.
But Apex Legends was also coming in the heels of the real boom in popularity in Battle Royale at the time.
In Battle Royale. But when you look at, and hero shooters are not I would say hero shooters do not do well, but Marvel Rivals is incredibly successful. But when you look at this Highguard gameplay, and I've watched it 3 times, what does it make you feel, Rand?
Honestly, when we were talking about this when we watched it, I said to my friends, I was like, I can't envision myself playing this game, and they were all same.
Yeah, I hate making huge judgments about games like this. If something doesn't interest me, I just walk on. There's so many other things to look forward to or to be playing. But if somebody's gonna ask my opinion on Highguard, I'm like, I don't know why I would. I guess I would play 1 or 2 matches, and I'd be like, I think I'd be good from what I'm seeing. And I loved Paladins in 2015. Paladins is like an Overwatch ripoff, or Overwatch ripped it off, but I loved Paladins back in the day, and this looks like something like that, but it's been 10 years. I don't know. I hate to be negative on something that hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the market it's in. You got all these games, and then it's here's this one, and I get why it's hey, it's the final reveal at the Game Awards. We think we got something great here, but I'm watching this, and I'm like, I kind of don't want to play this. I can't envision myself playing it. I can imagine a scenario where a year later or 6 months later, they're like, thank you for all the support at Highguard, and this is the final update, and we're doing something else. That's just how it is. But
that sucks because these devs spend so much time on games like this. And like people in the chat saying like the high fantasy thing has been done to death. I saw someone compare Godfall, Immortals of Avian or whatever, like kind of that same style, that futuristic medieval fantasy thing has not been a well-loved trope in gaming. So I don't know.
Yeah, sci-fantasy. Yeah.
Is that what they call it? Sci-fantasy?
Yeah, sci-fantasy.
Yeah.
But the Xbox made all its news before the Game Awards because they had a sit-down interview with Variety where they talked about certain things. They announced that South of Midnight was coming to PS5 and Switch 2. They talked about Call of Duty. But then they also talked about the Dev Direct because this is where they announced it. So they said, Matt Booty said, I can't share exactly what's there, but we've got a lot of stuff that we're shipping next year. In fact, usually Dev Direct is about highlighting what's coming up for the year ahead. This year, we've got more stuff coming up than we can fit in one show. So I will tell you that Playground Games is going to be at the Dev Direct, but we'll have more stuff next year to ship than we can fit into one Dev Direct show in January, which is a good place to be. So,
I did not see that come in that statement. Say it again for shock and awe.
So we'll have more stuff next year to ship than we can fit into one Dev Direct show in January, which is a good place to be.
Which I thought, you and I talked about 2026 a lot. I thought, man, they might be kind of light compared to 25 because they've got Gears E-Day and they've got Forza Horizon 6 and then maybe Fable. And then they've got, of course, Call of Duty, which sometimes we don't count. And then Halo. And that's it.
And we're like, well,
five really big games.
Yeah.
Yeah, are they going to release a couple games we don't hear about until 2026?
Well, that's the thing. It's
make it in that calendar year.
Like this year, we didn't know about Ninja Gaiden 4 until the Dev Direct, and they announced it at the Dev Direct, and it came out that fall.
Yeah,
and I think
that's true.
They're doing that where they're going to hold announcements to their vest and just wait until it's kind of getting ready. So we could have those things. I don't know. Is State of Decay 3 ready to come out next year? Is Clockwork Revolution ready to come out in 2026? Is
those two could maybe they're getting close.
Is what about the team behind what we think is Spyro 4? I forget the name of the team, the former Activision team. I forget that. There's a lot of games. Does Double Fine is their other game coming next year? They just released Keeper, but we know they were working on something else. Yeah, that's the thing. And so he mentions Playground Games, and people immediately say both Forza and Fable will be there. But he doesn't say both will be there. He just mentions Playground Games will be there. So I guess I could ask you the question do we see both games? Do we only see one? And if we only see one, which one is it? So I guess it's that's a 50-50 question for you. Do we see both Fable and Forza, or just Forza? Or just Fable, I guess.
Yeah.
Which way do you think it's going to go?
I think it's just going to be Forza Horizon 6 because I just have a feeling Fable is not ready for 2026.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, we don't know how the development of Fable's going. My line of thinking is that if you're going out and you're doing setting up on all these interviews and all these things behind the scenes at Playground, I think they show both games, regardless of whether the fact that Fable, because there's nothing preventing them from putting Fable in there and saying, hey, it's coming fall 2026, and then just delaying it again at some point. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I think you're setting up shot at Playgrounds, and you're going to show Forza Horizon because I think it's coming early in the year. I think it's coming in May. And then you probably then show off Fable, and then you say fall 2026. You don't have to commit to a release date. You can just be it's coming fall. And then if you do have to delay it, you do delay it. But I think we see both games. because I think they're going to go there, and it's going to be not necessarily. Maybe you could look at it as a celebration of Playground, of like, hey, this is what we're doing. These are both the games that we have under wraps. Take a a deep look at both games.
Do you think they would showcase Fable if they weren't sure it was going to make it by the end of 2026?
Sure, why not?
At Dev Direct?
Yeah, I think.
Dev Direct has always shown the game that came out that year, right? Or have any of them been delayed? I think they have, yeah. Haven't they?
I'd have to go back and look, but
we were looking.
No, wasn't Forza Motorsport delayed?
Yeah, I think it was shown and then delayed. I think it was. Well, let me look. Xbox Developer Direct. I don't know if you can look at your chat, see if they probably have better memory than we do on those. Oh, well, here's a picture of all of them. Let's see.
I think all Dev Direct is it's these are the games we want to release this year. And
yeah,
but
I'm just wondering if they've had to delay any of them that they showed. What was the first year they did it? 2023?
Yeah, 2020.
So they showed Forza and it came out that year.
Okay.
So, yeah. And Redfall. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's a discussion that you'll probably have closer to Dev Direct.
Yeah, which isn't that far away, but I think we see both those games. I think there's, probably see Gears of War. I mean, they made sure in that trailer, cuz that trailer for the Game Awards didn't say Forza Horizon or Fable or Halo. I mean, it really honed in on Gears as like coming next.
Yeah.
They even put out a tweet that said, "Hey, Emergence begins 2026." So I could easily see that showing up there as well. I mean, they talk about how they have more games than they could possibly show in a Dev Direct. I don't know if that's like code for basically saying we're gonna have more than one Dev Direct. Probably not. It's like, we got all this stuff we can't even fit in there. But the more games, the better. I mean, he even talks about the 25th anniversary. He says, for us, it's really going to be a great year. It's going to be the 25th anniversary of Xbox. We're coming up on franchises of ours that have got these decade-level anniversaries. It's the 40th anniversary of Bethesda, Blizzard's 35, Diablo shipped 30 years ago. We've announced things like the Halo campaign Evolved Collection that we've got coming, and we've got a lot of other things that we'll talk about soon that ship next year. So it's going to be a real banner year for the brand and a banner year for some of our biggest franchises to show up across the industry.
Jeez.
So, yeah. It's weird because I saw the tweet. It was like, oh, Microsoft announces the Dev Direct. I'm like, before the Game Awards? And it's like, yeah, they did this big interview with Variety before the Game Awards.
I mean, I don't know when they did the actual interview, but when did the article release?
It was the article released 30 minutes before the Game Awards started.
So is that Xbox's way of going like, see, Colt, we can you're complaining for nothing.
Well,
we had our own plans.
I think maybe it's jumping on the narrative because maybe you go through the Game Awards and Xbox isn't there with anything, and then Colt comes on the show and is crazy. They didn't show anything. What are they doing? And this is just like a big interview, and they just get it out there beforehand, being like, "Hey, we got all this stuff. Don't worry about it. It's you don't gotta wait long." They even talked about Call of Duty here because Call of Duty, they put out a blog post, and they basically apologized to their fans. They said that they aren't going to do back-to-back releases of Modern Warfare or Black Ops anymore. Because remember, they did Modern Warfare 2 and then Modern Warfare 3, and then Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. And I saw this, and I'm just like, oh, so Black Ops 7 really didn't set the world alight on for sales-wise. It must have not have done well. And, they're already kind of feeling the pinch from the success of Battlefield 6 and Arc Raiders, I think. Because Battlefield 6 is like the best-selling Battlefield ever. And Arc Raiders is doing extremely well. And I think there's a lot of fatigue within the Call of Duty fan base. And quite frankly, the game became a meme before it even released. It was always it basically was like a bad meme before it came out with the whole the campaign
The boss
and
battle.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So they're promising like better support long term. Like, oh, we hear you. We're gonna do all these things. We're not gonna do, which I could see them being like, yeah, we can't. And I don't know why they did of back-to-back Modern Warfares and back-to-back Black Ops. So they probably have the data of like Modern Warfare 3 sold significantly less than Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops 7 has done significantly less than Black Ops 6. And maybe they attribute that to some like franchise fatigue or whatever. And sometimes when you look at it, sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. Where you're like, oh man, I really want a new Black Ops game. But then you get the next year, you get another Black Ops game, and you're just like, you know.
I thought maybe they were kind of thinking about trying to get games out, in 24 months instead of 12 months. But the reality is, majority of the fans don't care about the campaign. They are buying Call of Duty to play online. And so they can't rob them of that game that they're looking forward to every November. So they just shift it and say, we're going to make sure we don't do back-to-back franchises. I don't think that's the problem. It's not that you're getting 2 Black Ops in a row or 2 Modern Warfare. The problem is that you don't give enough time for these studios to make the best Call of Duty you can make. And they're under like serious crunch and time restraints to create the big Call of Duty game. And it's allowed the franchise to just kind of dip down and become less relevant than it used to be. But then it still tops sales charts every month all year long. So what? I have no idea. They just have to get that quality up because it'll ruin the reputation of the franchise.
They probably need more. They probably need another full studio to make all this work, because they have 3 that kind of do it, right? You have Raven, which I think focuses mostly on and strictly on the Warzone stuff. Infinity Ward does their own games. Treyarch does their own stuff. Sledgehammer. And it really seems, with how long it takes to make games and how expensive they are, they really probably need a 4th studio to come in and alleviate some of the pressure from it, where you don't, because I think some of it's like, oh well, this year's COD isn't really looking that good, so let's brand it with Black Ops 7, and then you end up with a situation where it doesn't do as well, and now you're like, oh shit. Same thing would happen with Modern Warfare 3. Like Modern Warfare 3, the campaign was half the regular Call of Duty levels, and then just half of like Warzone maps just put in there because they clearly didn't have time. I think the whole thing was made in a year and a half from what the reports were, which is like, all right, but you clearly need to give these, and I think they've also have just been, they haven't had any competition really in the space, because Battlefield disappeared after 2142 came out, or 2042, and didn't do very well. Like, people didn't like it, and it wasn't really much of a factor. And it's like Call of Duty didn't have any competition, and then suddenly this year, everybody was like, yes, Battlefield's back, and 6 sold more than it's ever done before in Battlefield history. Even though if you look at like the player charts, people aren't happy with the state of Battlefield right now. I don't know if you know, like they've been fucking up with that game apparently. And then
ever since it launched,
yeah, I mean they've the last couple updates apparently haven't been good, and people are complaining about it, and the numbers are dwindling down, which to be expected. But then Arc Raiders, like you had 2 games that were highly anticipated come out and actually live up to what people wanted, and it took dents into Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty was bending over backwards beforehand and being like, we're not going to carry over the skins, and we're not going to do this thing, and we're not going to have skill-based matchmaking or whatever. And then they put out this statement, and it just reads like they know people have just like franchise fatigue right now, and they need to reassure players that they hear their complaints and they're going to fix them, and they're going to do these things, because you can't let the golden goose, you can't cook the golden goose. Like, it's golden goose for a reason. You can't kill it. It's like you got to make sure that it stays healthy for a while. So I don't know what changes for the next game. Probably not much, because they probably can't change a lot for Modern Warfare 4.
Yeah, they're
But-
on like a 3-year cycle or something. You know, the studios overlap each other, leapfrog each other to get those games out.
Yeah.
The next one is Infinity Ward, which I don't know if people are really excited about that either.
But I wonder if they feel like we need to make a new sub-series. Like, can we keep on just doing a Modern Warfare, and then next game is a Black Ops, and the next game is Modern, you know? Like, I wonder if at some point they're going to be like, no, we need to start something new, because they have been relying on the nostalgia of the Modern Warfare stuff. It was like, hey, let's remake
Xerox copying
the Modern Warfare games, and it's like, oh, we're going to continue on with the Black Ops stuff.
Yeah, and they've kind of Xerox copied the franchise for 17 years, and it's reached its point where it's not as excitable as it used to be. Like when Vanguard came out in 2019 or whatever, it was one of the lowest Call of Duties ever, and then they put out last year, they put out the best one in a long time. So I think it's Treyarch is the really good developer from them, right? So I don't know. You just have to do something. Gotta fix it.
We have Adam in the super chat says, I'm still trying to wrap my head around Expedition 33 winning game of the year, since I feel like Japanese turn-based games never get the love they deserve. I was rooting for Metaphor Fantasio for game of the year in 2024. I mean, I don't really think there's much to wrap your head around, really. I mean, unless you're trying to say that you feel that the Japanese JRPGs are getting the short shrift, and then you feel that Expedition 33 is so much like that it shouldn't have won because voters are biased against it. But I always say, like, look at the reviewers, look at the people voting on that stuff. They clearly, Expedition 33 was clearly the game this year. And I mean, it did what most people thought it was. I don't know. I didn't expect it to necessarily win 9 awards out of the 13, but I expected it to win Game of the Year.
Was there a JRPG that
last year
won this year?
So I don't think so, but last year Metaphor was nominated, as well as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah,
but they both lost to Astrobot. So
yeah, that's tough. Because Astrobot was just such a really great, enjoyable, fun game. Everybody really liked it, right?
Yeah. So. I mean, me and you played it.
Yep.
Fun game. Very fun game.
It's just put a big smile on your face the entire time. Yeah. So.
What about this, Colt? What about we talked a little bit about him earlier, about clearly somebody who was upset he didn't win an award, Mr. Kojima.
Right.
Where he basically says he doesn't know if OD will work out.
This quote.
He talked about the challenges he's facing while developing OD. He said, quote, I can't say exactly what it is yet, nor do I know if it'll work out. Kojima added that they have created stealth and delivery games, quote, which were unlike anything before. However, even those games had systems similar to other titles, which made the process a bit easier. In the case of OD, Kojima and team are, quote, trying to change the service model from the ground up, which has proven to be, quote, quite challenging. At the same time, the recent release trailer is, quote, full of hints, so the highly passionate players might be able to figure it out if they spend enough time on it. So, what do you think about this quote? What do you Look, I'll play anything Kojima puts out. I like Kojima. I like his games. They're weird. He Kojims across all of them, which is exactly what I want.
Kojims?
Yeah, dude, you use Kojima as a verb.
Okay, I like that. I haven't heard that before.
I mean, dude, Death Stranding 2, Kojima Kojimed. And during in that game.
Yeah.
But with OD, with it being experimental, like we've all heard, with it maybe not necessarily being like a game like we all expect, and whatever, I'm not too surprised he's saying like, I don't know if it'll work out. I don't know if that's something Xbox wants to hear, being like, hey, we're paying you all this money, you better have this shit figured out. But
I think it's funny that game was meant for Stadia, and Stadia folded, and then Kojima like shopped it around, and Xbox picked it up.
Well, they're trying to do. It sounds like they're trying to do things that nobody haven't really done before, and it's really unique in that sense. So maybe it just sounds like it's a challenging game
Did you
what
read
it
the
is.
quote where he said, yeah, I think you were reading that, where there's a part of that quote where he says it's like a service thing that hasn't been done before, right? And
Um,
when I read that, I'm
trying
like,
to
oh
change
boy.
trying to change the service model from the ground up, which has proven to be quite
Because what I
challenging.
translate from that is a interactive narrative game, like we talked about at the beginning of the show with that Soma developer. An interactive narrative game from Kojima that has horror and has PT vibes, but it's episodic and meant to play on console, PC, and even your phone. That's
Mhm.
my prediction of OD Knock, is that you'll be able to play that wherever you want on any screen. You'll be able to access it. You'll be able to use the functions of that game, even if you're on a touch screen or a handheld or whatever. It's meant to be like anyone could play it. It's like for screamers everywhere. So I think it's going to be episodic. It's going to be, $19.99 for the first chapter or something like that, or the first 3 chapters. And then you want to continue on. The next year, he'll have the next iteration. It'll be OD something, OD Candlewick or whatever he does. So I like some of stuff that Kojima does, but most of his stuff is too weird for me. And I think his unconventional business model could be very dangerous, because I don't want developers looking at a episodic piecemeal thing. But that does work with things like The Walking Dead and the Telltale games. And I think this is more in line with what they're doing there. And if those work, then that'll be okay. But it might not be for me. And that's my TED talk on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what that game's all
What
about.
are you expecting?
I have no idea what to expect. Honestly, I don't know. I know people kind of hope it's like PT or something, but I don't even know if it's going to be a game like that. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
So I'm excited. It's probably going to be different than something he's ever made before, and quite different than what a lot of people are usually used to playing. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. This is kind of funny, also kind of sad, but Xbox Black Friday and stuff was outsold by. It wasn't even number 3. They weren't just behind PlayStation and Nintendo, but they were also behind a third console, which nobody knew about until this was reported. Xbox was outsold by the Next Playground. Colt.
Yeah.
Which the Next Playground.
This is funny because a week before this news broke, my wife sent me a link to the Next Playground console on Twitter and said, "What is this? Is this like the Wii or the Kinect? Like, would the kids want something like this?" And I looked at it, and I'm like, I don't care about some Ouya thing. Like, and I ignored her tweet, and I didn't even answer her because I was like, I don't want to even look it up. It's probably some little gimmick on a Toys R Us, which is closed. And so I just dismissed it. And then a week later, it outsells the PlayStation 5 for a week and totally obliterated the Xbox
it outsells
console.
the PS5 Slim Digital, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, U.S. best-selling hardware SKUs for week ending November 22nd. Number 1 was Switch 2 Mario Kart World Bundle. Number 2 is the Next Playground system, and number 3 is PS5 Slim Digital. So, yeah, apparently it's like the Kinect, iToy, or PlayStation camera, but you don't need a console to make it work, as it is the console. It's been around since 2023. It's part of a new lineup of interactive game consoles designed for families and young gamers, allowing them to turn their televisions into engaging experiences without the need for controllers. It's an AI-powered device that sits next to your television, offering a range of games like Fruit Ninja, Bluey Bust-a-Move, NHL Puck Rush, and Barbie Dance Party.
And it's Android-based. It's also subscription-based.
It costs $250. Which makes it a considerably cheaper option compared to the Switch 2, sitting at $500, or the PS5 Slim Digital at $450, or the Xbox at $600. So, yeah, whatever. Xbox and they clearly are not. They didn't discount any of their consoles for the holiday. They clearly aren't interested in selling the console at this given time, and.
They didn't even, they didn't advertise.
Yeah,
them.
you go to the holiday and your console's $600, but everything else is a lot cheaper than that. Yeah, nobody's gonna pick up pick up your system.
I mean, they just sat in the cases. Like, I don't even think people came around and unlocked the Xbox cases.
Especially when
Target.
Xbox's marketing campaign is everything is an Xbox, so you don't need this thing because what you have is an Xbox. So your phone, your
Rand, can you
PC,
give me 4 minutes and I'll be right back? You can keep talking.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Oh, I'll be right back.
So, yeah, that was kind of I guess when I saw that, I was like shocking. Although then I was like, actually, probably not too shocking considering how expensive the Xbox is at this point, and how much a lot of people are just feel that the hardware is not worth it. But I didn't even know this thing existed, to be honest with you. So it seems like it's picking up steam. But yeah, what else we got here? I saw that EA has no plans to make a new Dead Space, which is unfortunate because it's one of my favorite franchises. Hopefully they don't sit on it, because a lot of these publishers, they just sit on IPs that they don't have any use for, they don't have any plans on ever using, and it's like, please just sell it. Like, if you're not gonna use it, just sell it to someone who actually does. Because I know Glenn Schofield wants to make a new Dead Space, and maybe he'll buy it from them, or maybe he'll buy it with like a private equity company or something, and they'll just go to EA and be like, hey, give us the Dead Space IP, let us use it if you're not gonna use it. Because man, the Dead Space remake was so good, and my naive self, I should have known better. I should have known. Nobody bought Dead Space in the first place back when it originally came out. Nobody's going to buy it a second time. But I thought after playing it, I was like, oh, this is so good. I want them to remake Dead Space 2. And I thought we were going to get Dead Space 2. But of course, Rand doesn't get anything he wants. So they put the franchise on ice. And now they probably never going to make another one. Because, EA's basically been bought by the Saudis. And who knows how anything's going to change there. They're just going to focus more on the profitable big games and the sports games and stuff, and rather not do any like Dead Spaces or anything else that is a creative risk. I don't know. But it's disappointing. So my only hope
about Dead Space not returning?
Yeah, Dead Space not returning. My only hope being that somebody else comes in and buys it off of EA. But that's
really weird, because I was under the impression that the Dead Space remake did really well.
No, it didn't.
It sold really well.
It did not sell well.
It's really sad.
It is very sad. But I mean, that's a lot of these companies. They just, I mean, how many times have people said Microsoft should sell Banjo to somebody who's actually going to use it, or any of the IPs that Microsoft sits on, or any of the IPs that Sony sits on, right? Just give it to somebody, sell it to somebody that actually might use it. But it's just like it's like a dragon just hoarding its gold just to sit on top of them, being like, I have all this. It's mine, Yeah,
and I don't want to do it. Yeah, I'm not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
Hey, the less Banjo, the better for us, right?
Yeah, the less Banjo, the better. It's funny when Jeff was talking about, hey, major like old IPs that were going to come back, there was a split second I thought, could this be Banjo?
Oh, yeah.
But it was Mega Man, so I was like, oh, it was Mega Man. It makes sense.
Some people are saying that the Bradley the Badger game is kind of like a Conquer thing.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's clearly parodying certain franchises. I mean, there was like a Last of Us level, Bloodborne thing. So it's clearly like doing that sort of stuff. But yeah, is there anything, Colt? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else that we missed out on? You think?
I mean, I made a video about AMD is.
Oh,
like
yeah. What's that all about? What's that all about?
It's really quick, but they've got basically like the FSR, which allows games to look sharper and run faster, and give devs a little more budget for rendering. They kind of have something now that will predict real-time ray tracing ahead of time, so you don't have to have like all this performance, like 30 FPS with path tracing and ray tracing. So like while you're playing the game, walking around, the game is looking ahead and predicting what ray tracing would be doing instead of doing it all in real time. And so like next generation, the consoles will be really powerful. Like even the PS5, or the PS6 will be a really powerful console, but Xboxes will be really powerful because it's going to be really expensive. But devs can really rely on software-based ray tracing and up resolution and stuff like that to make games look really great, and they can spend more time making the games better instead of worrying about getting ray tracing and all that stuff to work. So that's going to be really cool. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, there was all these promises about what Xbox can and the PlayStation 5 could do. But when I look back, I'm like, for the most part, there's like 5 or 6 games that were 30 FPS, but games look really good on the consoles. I have no complaints about how the games have looked or felt this generation for the most part.
And it's funny because the ones that we do have complaints about are all Xbox's own games. They're the ones that mostly were just 30 frames.
Yeah, like Starfield launched at 30 and
Hellblade 2 was 30.
Yeah.
Redfall launched at 30.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. It's so funny Redfall was on Unreal Engine 4 too. That's such a joke. But I don't know, they always get it ironed out, but I think some of that was also what was going on in the world. Like everything was just really hampered when we were going through the global thing, and I don't know, some of that's changed. I like the way that games look, and so we'll see how they do. Like, I'm sure this 007 game will be 60 FPS. We've only seen it at 30, I'm hoping. But Dominic says, old news, man. Redstone was just, it's AMD Redstone. It's a new software solution that was just revealed on the 10th of December, which was 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
So yeah, it's brand new. And it is being implemented into Call of Duty Black Ops 7 right now on PC on certain cards, and then it'll come to Xbox console when that comes out. So anyway, yeah, I mean, Xbox has kind of been in the news cycle at a time when I think it's going to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had Jason Ronald kind of hype up the 25th anniversary. You had Matt Booty come out before the show to announce the January Dev Direct and to talk about some of the stuff there and to talk about Call of Duty. And then, you know, there's Jeff Keighley, all the stuff going on there. And I don't know if you've seen, have you peeped the like to dislike ratio for the High Guard?
Yeah, I did.
What is
it? There's two main videos that I looked at.
Because I see people talking about how it's Concord-esque, a like to dislike ratio.
Yeah, let me look, because I'll get the IGN one has more views, I think. So let's see. I'll get them both for you guys, and then I'll just say them over the mic here. Okay, so the one on the Game Awards show has almost 50,000 views.
Okay, that's it.
So that's just views? The High Guard. Yeah, on the Game Awards
channel,
dedicated High Guard video, because they break them out, right? So it's only 50,000 views. It is a 90% like ratio or dislike ratio. 6,000 dislikes.
Jesus.
I'm going to round these to the even number since you guys have to hear them over the mic. 50,000 views, 6,000 dislikes, 600 upvotes.
Yeah.
90% disliked.
That sounds like
on
Concord
IGN
level. Yeah.
Yeah, is that close to Concord level?
I mean, I think so. I think it's pretty.
I don't remember those numbers, but you can look them up real quick while I read this next one. IGN has 160,000 views, so 3 times more views than the Game Awards video, and they're at 16,000 thumbs down, 2,000 thumbs up, that's even. What is that math? Rand's really good at math.
I mean, what is that? An 8 to 1?
2,000 versus 16,000.
8 to 1, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is that's pretty awful.
Yeah. Did you look it up? You want me to look it up real quick? Concord dislike ratio?
I can't look up the Concord thing. They might even
I'll do it real
quick.
The video. I'm sure it'll pop up on a.
You know.
Yeah, it was an 18%. Oh my gosh. The gameplay trailer, which was the worst one, 80,000 versus 8,000. That's a lot of views.
That's 10 to 1, right?
10 to 1. Yeah.
So I mean,
Concordian levels.
High Guard's getting pretty close to that, right?
What was the game that they said was going to get Concordian levels of failure? What was that famous game this year? This is going to have Concordian levels of failure. Do you remember that quote?
No, I don't. I don't. A marathon?
Was that
Veilguard? Well,
Yeah, that's what it was. It was marathon. Yeah. Yeah, Emperor House says, Gaz or Septic Sauce to say that's not enough downvotes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I just got a bad feel. The thing is, it comes out in 7 weeks, so I mean, like, we'll see how that goes. You know, we'll see how that goes. But anyways, do us a big favor. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the show. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/XB2. I'll be going to question and answers here in just a minute. And don't forget to check out our sponsor for this episode, Surfshark. Links in the description, surfshark.net/XB2. Check that out. Supports the show. Protect yourself while you're online browsing. But Colt, I know we've been 3 hours, so I don't want to keep you, but we got a couple questions here in the question and answer thread, and then we can end this up. We can end the whole thing.
I'll do that with you. I don't know anything, but I'll listen.
I don't know anything either. So Chris M says, hello, gentlemen. Hope you're both having a great week leading up to the big show tomorrow. Recently, I was out buying stuff for Secret Santa, and my person is a huge Stranger Things fan. So I figured it'd be easy to find merch for that given the show is in its final season. I was stunned to find that many of the major retailers didn't have a lot. But that kind of clicked with me, and that I believe you tend to see merchandise drop off over the years of a show. By the time you get to season 4, many fans have already bought what they're going to. My question, and Xbox may alleviate this tomorrow, is whether Xbox and Bethesda truly need to drop a Fallout game of some sort to seize on the popularity of the show right now. Because if they wait a couple more seasons to launch a new game with it, do you think they'll have missed the prime window of popularity to capitalize on? Here's to an enjoyable show tomorrow and lots of fantastic trailers. Here's a hot take for you, okay?
Okay.
I think they've already missed the window. And I don't really think it's... I think the Fallout TV show is going to be popular, but there's an argument to be made that it's already reached its peak. We'll see how Season 2 does.
Oh, sure.
Season 2 releases next week.
Yep.
I already think they've missed the window. Because we're talking about Fallout games, like Fallout 5 or the Fallout 3 remake, that are probably still some ways away.
Fallout 3 at least a year from now. Sure.
So we need to see how big this Fallout Season 2 is, because maybe it bucks the trend and maybe Fallout Season 2 is even bigger than Season 1. But I think the right time to have a new game was around the time of the Season 1 release, and they didn't have one. So
nothing illustrates your point better than seeing a quote-unquote trash game like Fallout 76. I love the game, but it saw, what was like a 300% boost in players or some crazy number. People were so desperate to experience Fallout after watching that Season 1. And I talked to someone, I'll just say I talked to someone that was very angry that Bethesda and the Xbox team had nothing ready to capitalize on that TV show.
Well, game development's a lot longer and a lot tougher than, TV show and movies to do, right?
Gosh dang it, Rand. When did they start building this show?
I mean, a year before it came out. How long does it take to make a game?
Yeah, true.
So.
But they're going to have some Fallout spinoff or some either a Fallout remake or some Fallout spinoff in 2 to 3 years from now. And the show is going to be well into its lifespan. Yeah, you're right. They completely missed the window.
I think they missed the window, but I still think, I guess it really depends on how popular the show is going to continue to be. Maybe Season 2 is just as popular. Maybe it's more popular. Then it's like, okay, well then you can still salvage it.
Like Stranger Things, like 2 gets even bigger.
And then because like, okay, we're releasing season 2 at the end of 2025. And I did see that they are they're going to film Season 3 summer of 2026, which says to me that Season 3 will release in 2027. Maybe early 2027, maybe mid. Maybe by then, Fallout 3 Remake is ready, and you can release it around that and take advantage of it. But go ahead.
Yeah, Carolina Gamer in the chat says, didn't they add the ghoul to 76?
They did.
Yeah, they did. They like 3 weeks before the show starts its second
I mean, they're
season.
trying to capitalize on it for sure. That's why the Fallout
Yeah.
4 anniversary update's out. That's why they're adding the ghoul to Fallout. Because, I mean, this is a big thing. And they clearly want to capitalize on it. And it's just, there's no new game to do so because games take quite a long time to kind of get ready. And, I think they've said they wanted to do...
Sorry.
I think they've said they wanted to do 5
what?
seasons of the show.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
there was a part of me that was like, well, what if like the end of season 5 like actually flows into Fallout 5 or whatever? Wouldn't that be interesting if it did that? But
yeah, I mean,
I think it was one of those things where you
they're
can't
planning out something like that.
you can't really plan for it. Like, yeah, maybe it was on Bethesda. It's like, how could Bethesda not have any Fallout stuff in the works? And then Microsoft takes them over, and they don't want to rock the boat. And then the TV show becomes this big, huge hit, and you're like, fuck, where's our Fallout stuff? We need to capitalize on this, and they just don't because there's nothing in development, and games take so long to make. And it's just...
I don't know how to make stuff for games, but when the show was popping off, they had a Vault 33 backpack, which is literally taking one of the backpack assets that's in Fallout 76 and adding a 3.3 to the back instead of a 76. And I'm like, this is how lazy they are when it comes to integrating like the show. The show's popping off. Fallout 4 exploded in popularity when that show came out because Fallout 4 is way more liked than 76. And I'm sure there's a Herculean effort to create new content on a live service game where all these things have to come together in 76. But you're looking at exactly a year later. It was about 10 months later, they had stuff ready to show and preview that was TV show related with the ghoul. They got Walton Goggins in and had him create the ghoul character. He's in the game, and he's just, all he does is says hi to you in a couple places and says, go grab a piece of paper off the table. Thanks for coming by, So there's a very minimum effort, and the proactivity with Xbox and Bethesda needs to be fixed. They need to be ahead of these things somehow. And I think they are, because I think Tim Kaine coming back to Obsidian is not as simple as you think. Like, he could be helping them work on their next thing, but I propose that Tim Kaine came back to Obsidian because Obsidian is going to play a small part in the next related Fallout thing. Like, maybe they're working on I said this in a video, maybe they're working on like Fallout New Austin, and it's going to be based off of the Fallout 4 engine, which is really old, but it's more likely that they'll build something in Unreal Engine 5. And they'll bring together a part of a Bethesda team, Obsidian, and another studio, and they'll all collaborate to get this game built in, 3 or 4 years instead of 7. I don't know, but I think they know the pressure's on. And I think Xbox has said that the pressure is on them to create Fallout content. And Todd Howard said the other day in the interview, which we didn't bring up on the show, that they have multiple things in the works. And so I think Fallout 3 Remake is probably about a year out. And then they're going to start working on Fallout New Vegas, which would be 4 or 5 years out. And they've got something else Fallout related that's not freaking Fallout Shelter, hopefully. And I speak on this as somewhat of an authority as a super fan. Like, you don't play all the Fallout games, so you're not as invested in it. But you have to look at what should they be doing or what could they do. And you have to rip the game away from Todd Howard's hands and say, we're not going to wait for 2035 for Fallout 5. Let's make something now. They could, you hate to hear this. I'll say something that hurts people's ears.
Ooh.
Maybe the next Fallout game is built off of the Starfield Creation Engine 2.0, which is a gorgeous engine. Oh no, all the loading screens. It's like, I think they're working on that too. I also think that the next thing we see from Starfield in about a year is a major Starfield update that removes a ton of loading screens.
When Todd Howard was there, did you think they'd be announcing the Starfield expansion and stuff, or?
Nope. No, I do not. I think the Starfield update has been pushed way out. They're biting off a big chunk of that.
Yeah.
Dominic says it's Todd's baby and I'm being a Monday morning quarterback, but no, Todd has said that he has relinquished full control. He is willing to let people help him create the next thing for Fallout. So I think Tim Kaine coming back is maybe a hint that maybe he's going to help them take Fallout and make it a little more gritty like it used to be. So
we'll see.
I don't know.
We got a super chat here from Mr. War, who says, what comes out first or comes out at all? Light No Fire, Judas, Arc 2, Beyond Good and Evil 2, or State of Decay 3? I mean, what comes out first?
Light No Fire.
Judas probably comes out first. I don't even know what Light No Fire is. What is Light No Fire?
Light No Fire is the fantasy building game from Hello Games.
Oh, okay.
Like a successor to No Man's Sky.
I'll just say
more
Judas.
Like a survival crafting game.
I'll say Judas.
Judas was supposed to get, according to Nate the Hate, he was predicting, he doesn't have any inside information. He was predicting that Judas would get its reveal.
Yeah,
at the
and
Game
they just
Awards
put up
and
a
get
blog
release
post
date.
on the PlayStation blog talking about Judas the other day and stuff. So that's why I'm thinking, like, it's got to be getting closer if you're putting a blog post about it. Arc 2? Where's Arc 2?
Yeah.
Wasn't that supposed to be a 2022 release?
Yeah, it was a 12-month game from the Xbox Game Showcase, and I don't trust that studio as far as I could kick them.
It's been 3 years, so who knows? Beyond Good and Evil 2? Who knows? But State of Decay 3? I'll say
27.
I say Judas comes out first.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We have C. Woody says, hey fellas, I've recently tried Copilot for Gaming, and I have to say it's truly awful. I've asked it 4 questions regarding missions in Outer Worlds 2, and every single time except once it completely made things up that didn't exist in the game. I then just Googled the same questions, and Gemini got all 4 right. How does Microsoft expect to convince consumers that AI is a benefit to the ecosystem when their own model can't even get stuff right about their own game? P.S. Just got tickets to Halo Fest. Hope to see some Xbox 2 people there. I'll even buy a can of beans for Jez and a book for you, Rand, if you guys come. Well, I hope you enjoy Halo Fest. But that's pretty awful. You ask 4 questions about Outer Worlds 2 to Copilot, and it gets it wrong? Ugh.
I haven't used it yet.
Neither have I. I don't really even have a
something
need
like
to
that.
Use it. What was,
Well, Rand, you do a lot. Like, Rand is a very thorough gamer and will look something up if you have to, right? I don't like unlocking my phone or speaking to my phone and flipping through Reddit and clicking all these things when I'm stuck in a game. And it would be nice to hit a button on my controller and get a flyout window like like on the Xbox dashboard that says, you need to go to this location to find that crafting material, and then just back out of that and unpause my game. I don't like going to my phone laying on my leg while I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Or how, like, when you were playing Outer Worlds too early and you're like, I missed 2 companions. I'm like, you probably just missed them. And you're like, I didn't miss anything, Rand. And then you missed something right in the very beginning of the game.
There was a glitch. There was a glitch where you could miss the medic girl, but there was a big puzzle in the game that I could not finish, and I couldn't look it up. It was a big solar system mechanical puzzle, and I never got to unlock the box from that. So, anyway, yeah.
I mean, that's more of like a AI question, right? So,
Yeah,
Silas says, hi, Rand and mystery guest. Rand, do you ever feel as though you miss out on games because you read so much? No, because I read before I get on a game, and I read at the end of the night. I guess the answer would be I don't. Gaming doesn't supersede, or the books don't supersede gaming. I guess there have been times, sure, if there's a game to play, I'm gaming. If there's not, I'll continue to read. But because Colt's asked me this question too, but I read like 100 pages before I get on the game. So no matter what, like I got 100 pages down, and then I'll game for a while. Maybe then after that I'll watch something, a TV show. Like right now I'm watching. I just finished it. Welcome to Derry, the 7 episodes, because the 8th one's on Sunday. And if you like horror, if you like it, you definitely should watch it. Last episode was fantastic. So I started up Task on HBO, and I'm just watching 2 episodes a night. And so when I finish that up, if I haven't already read, I'll like pick up the book and I'll read like 50 pages or whatever. But every single night, I asked Colt. Colt's like, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, I'm raiding. I'm arc raiding it up for like 3 or 4 hours or whatever it is. But yeah, no, it doesn't. Reading doesn't take the place of gaming. It's like I do reading before I game, so I get it in. It never has taken place where, oh, I really want to play, I don't know, let's just say Tomb Raider, but I have this book. Like, I'll put the book down and I'll go play for a bit, and then I'll read the book later. It doesn't. They don't interfere with each other. If anything, reading might more interfere with like watching shows and movies and stuff. Because then I can make a choice where I could watch something or I could read something. Pat Rock says, if Avowed 2 is happening, especially so close to release of the first game, could it be one of the DLCs got so expensive that they thought they could just sell it as a standalone release with a bit more time? Remember when sequels used to take 1 or 2 years? I'd actually be okay with a release like that. Honestly, that's how Miles Morales was, and it did great. I mean, yeah, I mean, like kind of like a standalone expansion sort of thing.
For Avowed 2, like the DLC got too big, like you saying, yeah.
But I don't even know if they were working on DLC though.
Well, we heard that DLC was approved because the game did well enough, but or did we hear they had a sequels approved?
I mean, it was just
I don't think anybody bought Avowed.
The only Avowed. The reason people think Avowed 2 is there is because what's his face? Chris Avellone says they're working on Avowed 2.
Oh yeah, and I guess if he knows somebody that works there, but Chris Avellone doesn't work there anymore.
I mean, so Avowed 2 would be early in development. I mean, you could think, well, we have this DLC where we're going to sell, we were going to sell an Avowed, so let's actually not do that and just turn it into a full game. Maybe, but I mean, we never even knew if there were any plans for DLC for Avowed. Usually because Microsoft has their Ultimate Editions that all say like, hey, come with DLC. Like the Forza games came with an expansion pass that came with 2 expansions. Indiana Jones came with an expansion. I think even Outer Worlds 2 comes with DLC, right, Colt? Like if you have the Outer Worlds 2 Ultimate Edition, it comes with an expansion pass to get like.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, Avowed didn't have that for its Ultimate Edition, so that made me think that there weren't really any concrete plans to do any DLC for that game. Because if there was, they would have included it. But then if they included it, it's one of those things where it's like, well, we got to do it unless you're Redfall and you don't have to. Because remember, Redfall was supposed to do extra characters as part of their pack, and they never got around to it because they shut the game down.
Yeah, the Bite Back edition, they gave out.
I think they had to refund.
They gave out refunds or whatever. Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? I mean, Avowed 2 might still take a while, and the only info it comes from is Chris Avellone. So who knows if it's actually true or not? Lee Sanders says, I know there will be chatter about Game Awards in the show, but do we think the show is just blowing smoke up its own arse? I get we are all after the new announcements, but I look to the other award shows and TGA stands out completely different, with the awards taking a backseat to the rest. Do we think it perhaps should be a separate show? One with the awards and one with the announcements? I mean, it should be, but that's not financially... that's not a good financial decision because the announcements are what drives the engagement, which is what drives the money. And it's used as the backdrop for the awards. So
yeah, and you said it really well the other day. You said, Colt, if Jeff Keighley's show was only showing the categories and who won and their speeches, would you watch?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, absolutely not. Even if it had the musical numbers, I absolutely wouldn't watch. I think that the reason why there's millions and millions of people watching is they're waiting for the announcements. And what Jeff has done is created a vehicle to showcase that moment for the developers and publishers by bringing a huge audience to be there to see the reveals as well. And of course, people like seeing these people come up on stage and get their award from a game that you loved all year long. But I don't think it's enough to drive the show. And it wouldn't, like, the other thing I said is like, did you watch the Joystick Awards? Did you watch the other award shows. No, I just read about them online. Yeah, I mean, because if they had those, if all those shows were a show you could tune in and watch, you probably wouldn't. We watch for the reveals. Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I get why people are like, it should be a celebration of the awards and the games and stuff, but that's just never what the Game Awards has been under Jeff. It's always been a vehicle for new announcements, and that's what drives all the monetary stuff because that's what brings the audience. Otherwise, GDC would be bigger, or the Golden Joysticks, or the BAFTAs, but nobody watches it for that. And I'll say it right up, like just with Colt. If it was just the awards announcements, I wouldn't watch it. No,
I wouldn't.
I would wait till it was over. I'd check to see who won, and that would be it. I'm literally there to watch the trailers. That's it.
Yep.
We got Frosty who says, "Hey guys, how open do you think the Xbox Magnus will be? Given its alleged specs, it should run SteamOS or Brazite OS with fairly no issues after driver optimizations, of course. I could see a future where enthusiasts treat it like the Steam Machine Pro. This could help with the sales of the Xbox Magnus throughout the course of its product life, especially if priced well against other PC pre-builts. But it's probably also a double-edged sword to allow customers to completely bypass your own OS, where they can't access the Microsoft Store or utilize Game Pass. You can already install SteamOS in basically any Windows handheld and most PCs and laptops in general. So will Microsoft try to lock down Xbox Magnus to avoid this or not? I think they should give us the ability to install SteamOS or Brazite OS, as it would make it a pretty compelling device for a lot of people."
I think the amount of people that would bypass the standard OS on Xbox's new console will be very low, and you will be able to put SteamOS on there if you I don't know how they do it, like you do with the handhelds. I don't think a lot of people will be doing that, and Xbox certainly won't make that an option. Would you like to boot this OS that doesn't belong to us and not be one of our monthly active users? They won't do that. So, and as far as the other things being open, just the stores and availability of other people's games will be the most open part about it. There's some interesting discussions that Rand and I have had about physical game-based media on the next Xbox, and even storage solutions that you and I had some really interesting breakdowns and kind of some unbelievable ideas of what actually Xbox would do, because my first thought is they're not going to offer a disk drive at all. They're just going to say, sorry, you're on physical disc. We don't like you anymore. And then they'll say, oh, you want storage? Go buy our proprietary storage on the Xbox Series X and S and use that with your new console. That's all you get. But you had some arguments against that made me think maybe Xbox is going to kind of do things differently. But kind of early to talk about that. But basically, Rand said they might offer some sort of physical-based support, and they might just ditch those overpriced SSDs that are proprietary.
I just do not see them moving over the SSD solution from the Series X to the next one. I just don't think they will.
Yeah.
But as far as like how open do I think Magnus will be? Will it be locked down? I don't really know much about the PCs. I can imagine. I don't know. I think if you want to, you probably be able to install SteamOS on it. So.
Yeah, I think so too. They just don't want you to do that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
I think you'll be able to.
They can stop anybody.
Maybe Jez would know, but I think you'll be able to. Glenn says, I noticed some catastrophizing in the online gaming discourse, and I'm wondering how you feel about those sentiments and how you feel about the current moment in gaming and how you think it might be remembered. It may be interesting to compare with music and film. In my view, those media have reached their technological endpoints. It's not that technical advancements don't happen, it's just that most people don't care about them. For example, you can buy 8K TVs, but most people are happy on their 4K TV watching Netflix, which streams significantly below that resolution. By contrast, video games do not seem to have reached their technological endpoint, namely that point where most consumers stop wanting to pay extra for new hardware. plenty of gamers are excited for new hardware. Technological novelty has a more central appeal in gaming than in other entertainment media. But as the technology improves, it takes more labor to make games that exploit those technologies. So maybe that has something to do with the sense of crisis among some gamers. Anyways, curious to hear your thoughts. Apologies for the meandering question. Hope the show goes well. Have you seen some of this? Well, but does that mean the games are going to look significantly better?
That's the specs of the current consoles or the next gen consoles do not bear on how do not directly bear on how amazing games will look, because I would ask you, what is the most next generation game we got on the Xbox Series and PS5 consoles? What is the most incredible looking game that just looked next generation to you that came out this generation?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't even think of one, honestly.
Like, I would say Cyberpunk, and I already just saw it in the chat, but sometimes Cyberpunk looks not great.
I mean, if you want to talk about how a game Hellblade 2, how it looked.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It did. Yeah.
But
it did look kind of a next gen. But I mean, I think it's a real outlier that a game, like, I could tell you that Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks incredible sometimes, but I think that Odyssey and Origins look better sometimes. And those games were made to run on an Xbox One and a PS4. So, like, we've had really great games this gen, though. So what looked next gen to you? I don't know.
Yeah, I like his comment about you can buy an 8K TV, but the problem with 8K TVs is there's nothing that supports 8K. So, like, you hook it up to your TVs, or you hook it up to gaming, but like you hook it up to Netflix or movies, like nothing supports 8K. So you're essentially just you're buying something that really doesn't.
I mean, most games aren't even really 4K. Most games on this gen
it's
haven't
kind of
been
how I
actual
view
4K.
Like gaming. Like you have people that love PC Master Race, and they build these amazing PCs that cost $4,000, and they have 5090s and stuff. But realistically, there's really no games that take advantage of those specs like how it used to. Remember when Crysis came out and the whole thing was like, can it run Crysis? Like, your rig had to be a certain level to be able to play that game. But when you think about it now, is there a game that is taking that mantle from Crysis where it's like, man, you better have a PC that, like, there? It's because, like, the PC I don't know how to say this because PC people might come at me, but like isn't the PC market sort of fragmented in the sense that, like, there's so many different combinations and variations of power from the GPU side up and down and the CPU, where developers need to make a game that works across a variety of everything, so they can't really take full advantage of the highest power because they have to make sure that the game works on something low end. So it's like, like, this game's going to be able to run nice on your 5090, but you're not going to have a situation where it's like, like Crysis, where a game comes out and it's so made just to cater to the high end market.
Those days are gone where developers are like, we're going to push the envelope of what can be done on hardware, because they don't say we have to develop for a 5090 and we have to develop for an Xbox One, all at the same time. What they do is they say we need to develop minimum spec to match current consoles and the majority of people on PC. And that's why that Steam machine was, outed the PlayStation or the PC Master Race that Gaz belongs to, right? He's got a $6,000 PC, but he is going to be hindered by a game development industry that makes their games for 70% of the PC market, which run at the specs close to a PS5. A standard PS5. That's like that's the minimum target, or that's the majority target, is really how you say that. That's where you start there. And that's why, like, Cyberpunk could look way better if it wasn't made to run on a PS4 and an Xbox One S. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it was a cross-generation game, and I can load it up on PC with everything cranked to the max. And sometimes it looks phenomenal. It looks really sharp, but then sometimes it's like, it looks all right.
Yeah,
So
it just looks okay.
devs are like, they're all about optimization and making games look great while being able to run across all of these customers so they can reach millions of players.
Yeah.
So the consoles have all these amazing things. And that's why I think it's so important when I talk about AMD's Redstone and FSR and PSSR and stuff like that, where consoles don't have to do the heavy lifting. The devs can turn a switch on in an algorithm that makes the game, sweetens up lighting, and then frees them up to say, we can have more cars on the road because now we're not worried about if the lighting model can work under the game engine, which is really techie. But I don't know. I'm happy. Games look good. Everything's at 60 frames for the most part. And I don't know. I did go through a long period there. I made a lot of promises under things that Jason Ronald and the team said for Xbox this generation, and a lot of those things didn't pan out. Devs aren't using a lot of those bespoke RDNA 2 things that only Xbox has for many, many reasons. But for the most part, games look fantastic. Yeah.
And,
yeah, Cyberpunk with mods. Yeah, of course, you can ramp up all kinds of lighting and make the game look better than its standard looks. But that's a little extra work that you can make happen for sure. Yeah. I've done that too. I had a realistic lighting mod on Cyberpunk, and the game looked like like it was shot on a digital video camera. It looked amazing, but yeah, then stuff stops working.
We have one last question. We got good old Collinwood who says, hey, hello, Rand and Colt. Colt, what are your kids playing? Would you be supported if they said they wanted to start streaming? Or if they wanted to get into competitive esports? Gaming is different between ages now. Not like when you and Rand were gaming in the PS3 360 era. Does that shock you what gaming is for your children?
It does. It does. My kids are 15, 19, and 22. I'm rounding up. And they don't. My son, who's a freshman, I ask him, what do people play on? Are they more PlayStation leaning? Does anybody talk about Xbox? He's like, no, they don't. No one in my high school is talking about PlayStation or Xbox consoles. Like, they don't really talk about games. What they do is they hang out on Roblox. They play Fortnite. They might play Call of Duty. Gaming is a social aspect for that generation. And so if I've tried to compel my son to create content, and he has on his channel, but I'm like, you're young. Like, you're like, nobody wants to listen to a 50-year-old guy. Like, you're young. Make some content and use your personality out there. The esports thing, I can't answer that. I don't understand that. That's been something I've never really paid attention to. But the generational shift of the other thing I'll say is, the kids that are in high school right now, their parents are buying their gaming stuff, but they don't care about the next immersive action adventure open world game. They don't care about the next like immersive, RPG like we do, like all these stories and these Star Wars things. They don't care about those things like we do. But when a game comes out that arrests people with this viral mechanic, like they'll probably get excited about something like Expedition 33 or something that gets super popular, like maybe Arc Raiders, or maybe there's kids at high school that are really excited about Arc Raiders because that's like a social thing where everyone's doing that. But we look forward to like the next big narrative adventure game, and I don't think that other generation really cares about that stuff. Because you and I grew up, Rand, and most of your audience grew up in an era where games were really cool. And then during the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, they transcended into the cinematics and the world look about the same. Like, you remember the cutscenes look awesome, then you get the gameplay and everything dive down. I remember like when Uncharted came out, games like that, where there's a seamless transition, like you were playing the action adventure movie, and those worlds were so amazing. And we've been enjoying that for years, but I think the younger kids they're not excited about that stuff like we are, and we're kind of the old guard.
Mm.
Am I speaking out of turn, Rand? What do you think?
No, I don't think you're speaking out of turn. You know?
Yeah. My kids play Minecraft too, yeah.
They were playing
But,
Grounded
you
with
have
you.
niece nephews. I've talked to you. Your niece and nephew come visit, and they want to play games because Uncle Rand is like the big YouTube star.
Well, no, I mean they are addicted to Roblox. They also Oliver also likes Fortnite, but yeah, like that's all they care about. Roblox, Fortnite.
Do they want to be famous like you? Like where everywhere you go?
No, I don't think so.
You know, women are want you.
And
to
then
give
I'm not
their
famous in
autograph?
any stretch of the word. I'm not famous. I definitely am not.
I don't know.
But thank you for all the questions. Let me just refresh it to see if anybody dropped another one. But nope. That was the last question. So we're going to get out of here because it's I don't want to keep Colt here all this time. Colt's got things to do, but I appreciate you for subbing in for Jez this week, Colt. A lot to talk about, Game Awards. So, there's actually things to talk about. Otherwise, it'd be like, well, what are we going to do? But, yeah.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been busy and fun.
You're going to have your show at MAG on Monday, right?
Yep. We'll talk about everything after it's kind of been real stale, but that's how it goes.
That's doing the show on Monday. Are you guys taking any holiday breaks at all?
Yeah, I haven't really looked at the calendar. I don't know if you've looked ahead to see like what that means for, let's see. Oh, we have a show 2 days before Christmas Eve. So it looks like we'll be able to do our shows, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they won't be like too close to the holidays. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on. Jez will be back next week, and we'll be doing Xbox. We'll be doing an Xbox Ultimate show on Tuesday. I'm sure Jez will give his thoughts on everything that's been going on. But until then, thanks to our sponsor, Surfshark, for sponsoring this episode. Go to surfshark.net/XB2. Links in the description to check out the VPN offer. 86% off 2-year deal. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/XB2, where you can support me and Jez directly. And, until Friday, I guess we'll, hopefully everybody has a good weekend. I'll be playing some more Arc Raiders. One more what? Oh, here we go.
One more super just roll.
We got, Face. Mr. Face, he says, Colt, why would third-party devs spend more time and money taking advantage of the Xbox Series X or the next Xbox if there aren't as many unit console sales compared to Sony or Nintendo?
Because they won't have to. Xbox is changing it right now so that their porting process is in line with Steam and PC. So next generation, if you're on Xbox, you'll get a more PC-like experience, and your ports will get the same care and attention that they would get across Steam. And most games are right now across PC are you load it up and it already looked at your set it accordingly, and you don't have to change anything unless you want to. So yeah, Xbox knows that that's a barrier because there are tons of games that run better on Series X than PS5 or even Pro. And that's just by pure hardware specs. So the devs aren't sitting there saying, let's make sure the Xbox is better because on paper it's more performant. But yeah, I think they're changing that because there are a handful of games, a couple games every year that don't come to Xbox because they're a pain in the ass to develop for and make their ports. And if they're working to remove that, sounds like they are, that'll make a big difference in developers going, should we bother spending the time, the attention, or optimization on Xbox, or even bother making a port? Sounds like Chris Charla was a big discussion on that from ID at Xbox because he works with all kinds of developers. So, yeah, that's the long answer. It should get a lot better. And then it's going to have tons of power, way more than the PS6. So the games will just look better. They'll be sharper. It'll be good.
Yep. So enjoy.
Brand hates all the tech talk.
yeah. It doesn't do anything for me. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll be playing some Arc Raiders, going after some kills, getting all my loot. And we'll see you next week. So,
yeah.
Later, everybody. Keep it gaming.
See you guys.